Chapter 750. A regular inferior-grade martial sage would be worth no more than 2 million astral coins. Given Xiao Chen's current cultivation, 500,000 astral coins would be an instant fortune. Young master, please wait a moment. Our young master would like to invite you upstairs for a chat. After the transaction, the plump shopkeeper invited Xiao Chen. This herb store belonged to the Eternal Heavenly Sword School. The young master that the shopkeeper mentioned should be the top true inheritor of the Eternal Heavenly Sword School, Mo Lingtian. The Eternal Heavenly Sword School wanted to auction off the broken part of the Thunder King's Thunderwood sword. It was not strange that the top true inheritor of the Eternal Heavenly Sword School would come personally. Xiao Chen had long wanted to see the Eternal Heavenly Sword School for himself. He did not hesitate to agree. On the second floor, Xiao Chen saw the young master that the shopkeeper mentioned. He was about 27 or 28 years old, considered very young in the Kunlun realm. Mo Lingtian looked handsome and had a deep cultivation, a half-sage. Sparks of electricity leaped about in the depths of his eyes. An indistinct sword intent occasionally flickered in the electric light. Behind Mo Lingtian, Xiao Chen looked carefully and discovered heavenly sage laws comparable to Wu Yuankai's. This person was not simple. However, this was not what Xiao Chen was concerned about. What he was more concerned about was that when Mo Lingtian first saw him, a hard-to-detect killing intent flashed in his eyes. White-robed bladesman, I have heard of your great name long ago. You should have obtained these 100 pieces of true dragon bones at the dragon burial mound, right? It looks like the rumor of you receiving 100 moves from Bai Wuxue is true. Although Mo Lingtian said this, the arrogance on his face did not diminish. He did not truly care about Xiao Chen. If not for the savage battlefield being so far from Hunluo City, I believe we would have met already. Xiao Chen casually replied, waiting for the other party to get to the point. Mo Lingtian asked in an aloof manner, half a month ago, you killed 2 half-sages near Azure Peak City. Is that true? Yes, I did indeed kill 2 blind half-sages. Does your distinguished self have any advice for me? The other party's tone was unfriendly, and Xiao Chen felt that something was wrong. Mo Lingtian's gaze sank. He said, unfortunately, those 2 clans are subordinates of my Eternal Heavenly Sword School. You killed the people of my Eternal Heavenly Sword School. So that's how it was. Xiao Chen finally understood why the other party's eyes flashed with killing intent when they saw him. What a coincidence. I actually took the initiative to deliver myself to your doorstep. How does young Master Mo intend to deal with me? However, there was nothing to be afraid of. He had the support of the 9 ranks of the great families, the Haotian sect. The sect had a great emperor. Even if the other party had the guts, they would not dare to do anything to him. Mo Lingtian waved his hand casually and said disapprovingly, 2 half-sages. So what if I kill them? Furthermore, they have already pledged their allegiance to the magnificent Fiend Hall. The one who wants to kill you is the magnificent Fiend Hall. I have another purpose in looking for you. If you agree, you will be a friend of mine, Mo Lingtian. The Eternal Heavenly Sword School can also guarantee your safety. When Xiao Chen heard this, he smiled coldly in his heart. Where does this Mo Lingtian get his arrogance from? Not only is there no payment, but he wants to move me with just a few empty words. Becoming friends with you, Mo Lingtian, is a very glorious thing. Do you really think that you are a martial emperor? I need your Eternal Heavenly Sword School to guarantee my safety. Since when did the Eternal Heavenly Sword School become more arrogant than the Haotian sect? How about it? I have been polite enough to you, right? Not only can I write off the matter of you killing the subordinates of my Eternal Heavenly Sword School, but we can also work together in the future. Mo Lingtian said confidently as he looked at Xiao Chen. He did not want to fall out with the Eternal Heavenly Sword School so early. He still needed to help Ao Jiao figure out the true identity of the Eternal Heavenly Sword Sage. Xiao Chen endured the unhappiness in his heart and revealed a smile. Young Master Mo is very magnanimous. What is it? Speak. Mo Ling Tian had already expected Xiao Chen's reply. He stood up and smiled. Come to my eternal heavenly sword school 10 days from now. You will know then. That's right. Here is a ticket to the auction. You will be able to sit in the first 2 rows. Take it. Not just anyone can buy it. Mo Ling Tian casually waved his hand and tossed a ticket to Xiao Chen. He looked like he was giving away something incredible. If Mo Ling Tian knew that Xiao Chen did not even care about the flourishing Heaven Pavilion's Nangong Qiong, he would not feel so superior. Xiao Chen pretended to be pleasantly surprised. He received the ticket and said, "Young Master Mo is very capable. To think that you can give away such a precious ticket so casually." Mo Ling Tian raised his eyebrows slightly and revealed a cocky expression. He said, "It is just a small matter. If you become my friend, I can even get you a VIP card for the flourishing Heaven Pavilion." After Xiao Chen left, the door to the back of the room opened. An old man with unfathomable cultivation and as straight as a sword appeared. Unexpectedly, he was a martial sage. The old man said with a sullen expression, "Young master, do you really intend to bring him to the Heavenly Rock King's Stargrave Palace? He has caused our eternal Heavenly Sword School to lose a lot of face." A heavy murderous intent flashed in Mo Ling Tian's eyes. He said, "Naturally not. If not for the Haotian sect, I would be able to squish him to death with a wave of my hand. The Stargrave Palace is filled with danger. Furthermore, martial sages and above cannot enter. When he no longer has any value, I will just kill him. No one will know that I did it." The old man said with some worry in his eyes. However, news of the opening of the Stargrave Palace has already spread. Not only will the 6 big sects of our Hunluo province rush over, but several young experts of the fiend race will also rush over. Adding such an uncertain factor into the mix, isn't that a little risky? Mo Ling Tian smiled disdainfully and said, "Did you see his expression just now? Just giving him some small favors and he became so happy. How could such a fellow escape from my palm? I am a peerless genius who will definitely become the everlasting Sky Emperor." Mo Ling Tian smiled disdainfully. After leaving the herb store, Xiao Chen casually tossed aside the ticket. Then, he spent 300 astral coins to buy a seat in the first row. In the Magnificent Fiend Hall's western district, the yellow-robed man in the Magnificent Fiend Hall's branch looked at Wu Yuankai expressionlessly, clearly unhappy. What a piece of trash. He could not even deal with a superior-grade martial monarch. Furthermore, he was scared away. Wu Yuankai felt very sullen, but he could not rebut. No matter what, the fact that Xiao Chen scared him away could not be changed. Wu Yuankai's face twisted in dissatisfaction. After a long time, he said sullenly, "I was careless. However, your people did not tell me everything. They did not say that his physical strength had already reached 100 kilograms of force. Cut the crap. I will give you 10 more days. This is your last chance," the yellow-robed man said in a cold voice. Wu Yuankai raised his head and said, "The difficulty has increased. I want the remaining half of the reward. Give it to me now, or else you can go and find someone else." The yellow-robed man had not expected Wu Yuankai to raise the price. He could not help but rage in his heart. However, he endured it in the end. He tossed out a spatial ring and said, 100,000 astral coins. If you fail the mission, you can forget about remaining in Hunluo City in the future. Wu Yuankai caught the spatial ring, and a greedy expression appeared on his face. He said, "Don't worry. He will leave the city sooner or later. At that time, if I do not have anything to fear, he will die for sure." After Wu Yuankai left, an impressive-looking youth walked out of the hall. The fiend energy in his body surged like it would erupt at any moment. This youth's chi and blood were as vigorous as the blazing sun. As he walked, he was like a huge elephant walking on the plains, heavy and filled with power. This was a cultivator of the fiend domain's elephant race. The youth asked, "What's wrong? That brat is not easy to deal with. Do you need me to make a move?" When the yellow-robed man saw this youth, he immediately withdrew the rage on his face. He said, "There's no need. I have already prepared a foolproof plan. Young Hall Master, there is no need to bother with such a small matter." The magnificent Fiend Hall's young Hall Master did not mind. He said, "How many astral coins can the branch give me? I need 3 peak defensive superior grade secret treasures for this auction. Otherwise, the Star Grave Palace will not be confident." "Don't worry. The Hall Master has already informed us. 500,000 astral coins have already been prepared," the yellow-robed man said, having prepared for this long ago. The youth with surging fiend energy smiled in satisfaction. He clenched his fists tightly and said with a resolute gaze, "As long as I can obtain the fragment of the Great Rock Spreading Wings painting, even if I cannot advance to Martial Sage, I will be able to obtain another 100 Heavenly Sage Laws, increasing my strength by 50%. When the yellow-robed man heard about the Great Rock Spreading Wings painting, he could not help but reveal an expression of yearning. He said, "I heard that the Heavenly Rock King condensed all his comprehensions before he died into this Great Rock Spreading Wings painting. Although it has already shattered into pieces, even a martial sage would benefit greatly from it. Unfortunately, even sovereign martial emperors cannot break into that Star Grave Palace. Only those below martial sage can enter. Otherwise, this old man would join in the excitement." The youth smiled faintly and said, "Haha. If there are more of the painting pieces, I can bring one for Elder Huang." The yellow-robed man quickly performed a cupped fist salute and said, "In that case, I thank young Hall Master in advance." 2 days later, the Flourishing Heaven Pavilion's large-scale auction began as scheduled. All the superior-grade martial monarchs and above in Hunluo City rushed over. The crowd moved like a river flowing into the Flourishing Heaven Pavilion's hall. Dressed in a black cloak, Xiao Chen stood in a pavilion across the hall. When he saw this scene, he could not help but sigh. There are probably more than 6,000 people. Even a sovereign sect would not have so many superior-grade martial monarchs. There were limited seats in the auction, so only superior-grade martial monarchs could enter. However, there were still so many people rushing over. This was Xiao Chen's first time seeing such a scene, so he was somewhat astonished. That is normal. More than half of the loose cultivators of the Tianwu domain and the Fiend domain are gathered here. It is not strange for so many superior-grade martial monarchs and above to arrive. Ao Jiao had seen many grand scenes before. These were much more majestic and much calmer than Xiao Chen's. After 1 hour, the crowd slowly thinned. Xiao Chen prepared to enter as well. Just at this moment, a familiar figure slowly appeared in Xiao Chen's vision from a distance. It was a delicate and charming woman in white clothes. Her skin was white like jade, and it seemed as if it could be broken by a gust of wind. Her pure and cute face carried a natural charm. Her curvaceous and alluring body made people unable to control the flames in their hearts. With a swoosh, they started to burn. As she walked, the wine gourd hanging at her waist swayed back and forth. Her face was in high spirits, radiating charm. The moment she appeared, she attracted everyone's attention. Chapter 751. Xiao Chen was slightly stunned and stopped what he was doing. A gentle smile appeared on his face as he said, "It has been almost 2 years since I last saw this girl after the 5-nation youth competition. TSK. Is this the little fox that I hugged back then? I did not dare to imagine that not only did she manage to take human form, but she even looked so alluring." Ao Jiao's eyes were filled with shock as well. "Hey, who's that man beside her? His gaze seems to be very ambiguous." Xiao Chen withdrew his gaze and pulled down the hood of his cloak. He said calmly, "He is probably one of her pursuers. Let's go. It's time for us to go in." "Wait, you are not going to meet this girl? It is not time yet." Mu Xinya's group of 4 chatted softly on the street in front of the Flourishing Heaven Pavilion. "I heard that aside from the Broken Thunder King's mulberry sword, there will be several peak superior grade secret treasures. Even sage grade secret treasures, which are even more precious than superior grade secret treasures, will appear in this auction. Jiang Zimo spoke calmly, just like when he was in the Sky Dome realm. That's right. This auction is held by the Flourishing Heaven Pavilion only once a year. Although the Flourishing Heaven Pavilion in Hunluo City is not large, it will definitely have many good items. We will definitely be able to buy some of the secret treasures that we want in the Star Grave Palace. The person who took over the conversation was a rather pretty man beside Bai. His handsome appearance gave off a mesmerizing aura. His exquisite facial features looked like they were carved. His eyebrows looked like they came from a painting, and his eyes were as black as the stars. It was a face that women would be jealous of. The only flaw was that although he was handsome, he was slightly lacking in masculinity. His temperament was somewhat feminine. However, this was not a big deal. Some women might even be more attracted to him. Mu Xinya smiled slightly and said, "Haha. Young Master Xuanyu is an outstanding genius of the Silver Moon Spirit Fox race. It looks like he is confident of obtaining the Great Rock Spreading Wings painting fragment." It turned out that this person was a fiend race cultivator of the Silver Moon Spirit Fox race. No wonder he was so pretty. After the Spirit Fox race took human form, they were all handsome men and pretty women. They were very charming. Xian Yu smiled faintly and glanced at Mu Xinya. An undetectable possessive look flashed in his eyes. He smiled and said, "That's easy. The two of you are Xiao Bai's friends. The benefits we obtain this time will definitely include the two of you." Just at this moment, Xiao Bai, who was walking in front, suddenly stopped. Her eyebrows, which were like willow leaves, were gently knitted together. Her expression was one of pleasant surprise and confusion. "Bai, what's wrong?" Xian Yu hurriedly stepped forward and asked. Xiao Bai said somewhat uncertainly, "I seem to have felt elder brother Xiao Chen's aura earlier." However, in the blink of an eye, that aura hid itself. "I don't know if elder brother Xiao Chen is here." When Mu Xinya and Jiang Zimo heard Xiao Chen's name, their faces lit up with joy. They said, "That can't be wrong, right? This is Hunluo City, it is very far from Haotian City." Bai squinted slightly and smiled, "That should be wrong. If elder brother Xiao Chen was nearby, how could I not see Bai?" When Xuanyu, who was at the side, heard Bai mention Xiao Chen's name, his expression turned unnatural. There was an expression of jealousy in his eyes. Xuanyu recovered his composure and smiled warmly. He changed the topic and said, "Let's go, the auction is about to start. If we do not go in now, we will miss it." The four of them did not notice a black-cloaked person standing below a pavilion not far away. That person was currently watching them enter the gates of the Flourishing Heaven Pavilion. "You are extraordinarily ruthless. Unexpectedly, you took the initiative to hide your aura," Ao Jiao said as she clicked her tongue. Earlier, when Xiao Chen leaped off the pavilion, he immediately felt a strange connection. Although the blood contract between him and Bai had been erased by An Zixuan, the two of them had been together for a long time. They had experienced many life and death situations. Some things could not be broken on a whim. It was hard to explain that strange feeling. Xiao Chen had no choice but to hide his aura. Only then did he barely manage to fool Xiao Chen. "We have not dealt with Wu Yuankai's problem yet. That Imo Ling Tian is not a good person either. If we meet her now, it will only put her in more danger. As long as I know that she is safe, it will be fine. There will be a chance for us to meet again in the future." After a while, Xiao Chen said softly, "That Silver Moon Spirit Fox cultivator called Xuanyu is very strong, no weaker than Imo Ling Tian. Furthermore, based on his appearance, he is not a good person." Ao Jiao's eyes had always been sharp. The hidden message in Xian Yu's eyes did not escape her eyes. Naturally, it was impossible for Xiao Chen not to see it. He said indifferently, "I hope he does not do anything stupid." Xiao Chen walked forward and soon entered the Flourishing Heaven Pavilion's hall. The hall on the first floor was completely different from the last time Xiao Chen had visited 2 days ago. The booths that were originally filled with items for auction had all been moved away and replaced with rows of seats. It was noisy, and the hall was a boiling cauldron of voices. It seemed to be extraordinarily bustling, and all sorts of discussions could be heard without end. Xiao Chen looked at his ticket and quickly found the spot that belonged to him. The auction platform was 500 meters in front of him. It was a pretty good seat, and there were no star coins to spend. This auction is really extraordinary. Not only are there many martial sages cultivating in seclusion, but there are also many martial sages. The top true inheritors of the Eternal Heavenly Sword School, the Bone Mausoleum Hall, the Blood Shadow Sect, the Magnificent Fiend Hall, the Heavenly Tiger Sect, and the Soaring Serpent Mansion are all here. Most of those martial sages are here for the broken sword of the Thunder King, Sangmu. I wonder, why are the top true inheritors of these large sects rushing over? Indeed, this is really strange. There have been auctions in the past, but I have never heard of the top true inheritors of the 6 large sects rushing over. Never mind, this has nothing to do with us. I just want to see if there is a chance to win a weapon that I can use. The moment Xiao Chen sat down, some of the discussions nearby entered his ears. Unexpectedly, the top true inheritors of the 6 large sects all rushed over. Xiao Chen could not help feeling mildly astonished. Xiao Chen extended his spiritual sense into the hall. Soon, he picked up several strong auras that were no weaker than Wu Yuankai's. Furthermore, they were all young. If Xiao Chen guessed right, they should be the top true inheritors of the 6 large sections. There were several stronger auras in the VIP rooms on the 2nd floor. The heavenly sage laws around them were all as thick as a finger, numbering in the hundreds. These auras were far from what a half-sage could compare to. There were also many martial sages here. Xiao Chen withdrew his spiritual sense and entered deep thought. For some reason, he felt that a storm was brewing. This auction was just a prelude to something that was about to happen. The true inheritors of the 6 large sects and the hidden strong half-sages might all be here for the same purpose. I wonder if Mo Lingtian calling me over has anything to do with this matter. Suddenly, the noisy hall turned quiet. Xiao Chen looked up and saw a white-haired old man wearing luxurious gold-lined clothes slowly walking over from the auction platform. Everyone, welcome to Hunluo City's Flourishing Heaven Pavilion's annual auction. I am Old Qin, the host of this auction. I will not speak any nonsense. I will directly reveal the first item. Old Qin appeared to be very capable. After a simple opening speech, he directly lifted the black cloth on the auction stage. An exquisite pagoda that looked like a cockroach appeared in front of everyone. Boom! Old Qin casually waved his hand and infused some quintessence into the pagoda. The spiritual energy in the surroundings started fluctuating intensely. Ethereal sagely music came from the pagoda. Xiao Chen's pupils constricted as he infused his spiritual sense into his eyes. When he looked carefully, he discovered strands of heavenly sage laws around the pagoda. This was actually a sage-grade secret treasure that surpassed peak superior-grade secret treasures. Several half-sages would not be able to afford such an item even if they sold everything they had. Even if they bought it, they would not be able to sustain the consumption of such a secret treasure. The cultivators here were at least superior-grade martial monarchs. Their knowledge was not something ordinary people could compare to. Soon, they recognized the origins of this secret treasure. Unexpectedly, it is a sage-grade secret treasure. This first item is really enviable. Pagoda-type secret treasures are usually defensive. If I can obtain it, I will be able to protect myself against a martial sage. Fool, not to mention whether you can afford it or not, you have not comprehended any heavenly sage laws. It would be difficult for you to bring out the might of such a secret treasure. You would barely be able to activate it once. Hee hee. I know, but I was just saying it casually. This sage-grade secret treasure is definitely prepared for those major characters and the true inheritors of the 6 major factions. We can only look at it. One sage-grade secret treasure immediately stirred up the atmosphere of the entire auction hall. Old Qin smiled faintly, he was very satisfied with the effect. As you all expected, this is a defensive inferior-grade sage-grade secret treasure. It contains 32 heavenly sage laws and can protect one's life at a crucial moment. The starting bid is 50,000 astral coins. Old Qin stroked his beard as he spoke in a calm voice. 50,000 astral coins could be exchanged for at least 50 million superior-grade spirit stones. This was a rather large sum and was suitable as the starting bid for a sage-grade secret treasure. 200,000. Right after Old Qin spoke, someone immediately made a bid. Furthermore, the bid was raised to 200,000 astral coins in one go. Xiao Chen looked over. The one who made the bid was a young man with sinister eyes, like a venomous snake. He was already a half-sage. This person had 11 needle-like black heavenly sage laws around him. His strength was only slightly weaker than the evil man Wu Yuankai's. Xiao Chen withdrew his gaze and made a mental note of this person. Hunluo province was not very large, but there were many demonic geniuses gathered here. For this person to reach half-sage at such a young age and even comprehend heavenly sage laws, he was not much weaker than the 7 giants of the Tianwu domain. Unfortunately, when Xiao Chen fought by Wu Xue, he was only a medial-grade martial monarch and did not have a clear sense of heavenly sage laws. If Xiao Chen had sensed them at that time and focused his spiritual sense on his eyes, he would have been able to see how many heavenly sage laws Bai Wuxue had comprehended. If Xiao Chen compared this person's strength to Bai Wuxue's, he would have been able to see the difference in strength. Someone recognized this person and said, "It is the top true inheritor of the Soaring Serpent Mansion, Sui Guangyuan. He is really rich," directly raising the bid to 4 times the astral coins. Chapter 752. Zhuo Guangyuan's lips curled up in a cold smile. It was clear that he was determined to obtain that sage-grade pagoda. The moment he opened his mouth, he shocked most of the people. This immediately extinguished the flames of desire in many people's hearts. 200,000 astral coins. An ordinary half-sage would only have that much wealth. Xiao Chen was very interested in the sage-grade pagoda. Unfortunately, he had not comprehended heavenly sage laws yet and could not refine it. It was not worth it to buy it. The hall fell silent. For now, no one made another bid. Disappointment appeared in Old Qin's eyes. An inferior grade sage-grade secret treasure could sell for 100,000 astral coins. 200,000 astral coins was indeed a great profit. However, this was an auction. If someone bid, the price could continue to rise. 230,000. However, it was clear that Old Qin's worries were unfounded. Someone immediately raised the bid to 30,000 astral coins. The one who made the bid was the magnificent Fiend Hall's young hall master, Xiang Fei. 250,000. 270,000. 300,000. Soon, the top true inheritors of the 6 factions called out their bids. The competition was intense, and the price kept rising. From the initial 50,000 astral coins, the price rose 6-fold to 300,000 astral coins. This was already a horrifying number. However, what surprised Xiao Chen was that none of the martial sages in the VIP rooms on the 2nd floor made a bid. They did not seem to care about this sage-grade secret treasure. Ao Jiao explained, defensive secret treasures are very valuable. However, this pagoda contains too few heavenly Tao laws, not even 50. To those martial sages, it is not enough. It is of little value and is not worth spending a lot of money on. Xiao Chen now understood. It turned out that there was such a logic behind this. On the other side, Xian Yu, who was seated at the back, said, "Bai, do you want this sage-grade pagoda? If you do, I can help you buy it." Bai was somewhat distracted. He smiled politely and said, "There is no need. It is too expensive." Seeing Bai reject him so straightforwardly, Xian Yu smiled embarrassedly. His handsome face showed some embarrassment. Eventually, this sage-grade pagoda reached a price of 350,000 astral coins. Unexpectedly, the Eternal Heavenly Sword School's Mo Lingtian won it. After Mo Lingtian obtained the sage-grade pagoda, he revealed a cocky expression. Then, he gestured at Zhuo Guangyuan to show off, angering the other party so much that he gritted his teeth. After successfully obtaining a good start, Old Chin's mood was very good. He immediately revealed the second auction item. It was a heaven-ranked spear art. To any martial monarch, a heaven-ranked martial technique was a trump card. No one would complain about having too many trump cards. In addition, there were quite a few cultivators who used spears at the scene. After an intense bidding war, the spear was sold for an extremely high price. Many of the treasures auctioned next were rare items. Of course, there were also some items that weren't very valuable that were left unsold. There were no treasures that could excite Xiao Chen, so he did not make a move. However, he treated it as an eye-opener, so it was not boring. The next item up for auction is a pill formula. The pill formula records the refining method of the breaking sage pill. Of course, I believe you all know that the refining method of this medicinal pill is an immortal Tao alchemy. It is completely different from the current refining methods. The starting bid is 10,000 astral coins. When Xiao Chen heard Old Chin's voice, he perked up. The thing he had been waiting for had finally arrived. Ha ha! I wonder which unlucky alchemist got cheated and ended up selling this alchemy recipe cheaply. How unfortunate! If he could really refine the breaking sage pill, the value of this alchemy recipe would be 10 or 20 times higher. What is the point of saying all this? After Great Master Jin died, no one in the Kunlun realm could learn immortal Tao alchemy. Clearly, the people present were familiar with the alchemy recipe for the breaking sage pill. They discussed it in low voices, but no one made a bid. Old Chin had expected this long ago. The chances of this alchemy recipe going unsold were very high. However, it was not a true treasure. So be it. 11,000. Just as Old Chin prepared the next item, Xiao Chen raised his bid by 1,000 astral coins. What a fool! Another person thinks that he is the reincarnation of Great Master Jin, able to refine the breaking sage pill. Ha ha! There are fools every year, there is never a lack of them. Seeing someone buy this thing that was definitely a loss, several people immediately mocked him. Only Old Chin, who was on the auction platform, smiled happily. It was as though he feared that Xiao Chen would go back on his word. He picked up the hammer and was about to smash it down. 20,000 astral coins. Just at this moment, something strange happened. A voice suddenly rang out. Unexpectedly, someone made a bid. Furthermore, this person raised the bid to 20,000 astral coins in one go. Who is this? Everyone could not help but look over curiously. They discovered it was a mysterious cultivator wearing black robes and a mask. No one could guess his origins. On the other side, under the cloak, Xiao Chen's expression was extremely calm. He said, 30,000. 40,000. Right after Xiao Chen raised the bid to 30,000, the black-robed masked man immediately raised it to 40,000. Old Chin, who was just about to smash the hammer, was stunned by this sudden turn of events. He could not understand what was going on. This was an alchemic recipe that was clearly a scam. Why would someone bid for it? Furthermore, this person even raised the bid to 40,000 astral coins. Xiao Chen had to obtain the alchemic recipe for the breaking sage pill. Others might not know any immortal alchemy, but Xiao Chen was an exception. The trash in the eyes of others was a supreme treasure in Xiao Chen's eyes. He absolutely could not let it go. Xiao Chen, whose face was mostly covered by the shadow of his hood, opened his mouth again. 50,000. 60,000. 70,000. 80,000. 90,000. Every time Xiao Chen raised the bid by 10,000, the mysterious masked man would not hesitate to raise the bid by another 10,000, as though he was certain he would win. This repeated over and over again. When the bid reached 200,000 astral coins, the two of them still did not show any signs of stopping. In the auction hall, the mockery that was originally mixed with various voices gradually stopped. Everyone fell into a strange silence. Quite a few people had their mouths wide open, completely dumbfounded by what they saw. 400,000. 400,000. Under the bidding of the two, the price of the breaking sage pill soared until it reached a level that everyone found incredulous. The price of an insignificant breaking sage pill's alchemic recipe far surpassed that of a sage-grade secret treasure. This defied logic. No matter how hard they thought, they could not figure out what was going on. The gazes of everyone in the hall focused on the two mysterious bidders. Even the several martial sages on the second floor, who were as calm as Mount Tai, cast doubtful gazes. Xiao Chen raised his head slightly and looked up. Only when he reached the railing at the top floor of the Flourishing Heaven Pavilion did he stop. Behind the railing, Nangong Qiong smiled faintly and exchanged gazes with Xiao Chen mischievously. It was hard to imagine that this girl, who normally exuded a noble air, could have such a cheerful expression. Xiao Chen withdrew his gaze and smiled bitterly, stopping his bid. Ao Jiao clicked her tongue and said, "That's for acting cool. Now you know the consequences of offending a woman, right?" Since Xiao Chen stopped bidding, naturally, there would not be a third person. Just like that, the breaking sage pill that no one cared about was sold for a price even higher than that of a sage-grade secret treasure. 410,000 astral coins. Such a high price startled everyone. As they looked at the mysterious masked person, they all tried to guess which deity this person was. Why would he spend so much money on a useless alchemic recipe? If you still want the breaking sage pill, come and look for me after the auction ends. A melodious voice entered Xiao Chen's mind. When he looked up, he saw Nangong Qiong blinking at him. She smiled faintly and retreated. Xiao Chen frowned in confusion. What is this woman trying to do? On the other side, Bai looked at Xiao Chen, who wore a black cloak and wrapped himself up tightly. An expression of pleasant surprise flashed in her eyes. There was no mistaking it. Although that person's voice had been altered, Bai could still tell that it was Xiao Chen's voice. However, even though Bai's thoughts were as pure as before, she was no longer as ignorant as before. Elder brother Xiao Chen would definitely not avoid me for no reason. There must be a reason. When Xian Yu saw a smile on Bai's face and an excited expression on her face, he followed her gaze and could not help but ask curiously, "Bai, did you meet someone familiar?" Bai withdrew her gaze, and her eyes turned into crescent moons. She smiled and said, "No, I just feel that it is strange that that person spent so much money to buy the breaking sage pill." Xian Yu smiled in understanding. The breaking sage pill is a scam in the first place. However, there will always be people who believe in it. There is no need to care about it. Old Qin, who was on the stage, revealed an expression of wild joy. He quickly hammered the gavel. This was truly a pleasant surprise, truly shocking. The auction continued. The next item was a defensive peak superior grade secret treasure, an inner vest. For some reason, the top true inheritors of the 6 great factions fought intensely for a defensive peak secret treasure. The 6 people took turns bidding, pushing a peak superior grade secret treasure worth 70 to 80,000 astral coins to more than 200,000 astral coins. In the end, the Blood Shadow Sect's Teng Peng obtained it. If there were no more peak superior grade defensive secret treasures, there would be waves of climaxes. All sorts of bids would shake the hearts of the crowd. This made the ordinary cultivators truly understand what it meant to be rich and overbearing. Originally, Xiao Chen wanted to exchange his inner vest for a peak superior grade secret treasure. However, when he saw the situation, he had no choice but to give up. Xiao Chen did not earn his astral coins easily. He did not want to be a sucker. However, the next item was a secret manual that attracted Xiao Chen's attention. It was a peak heaven-ranked martial technique known as the Myriad Heaven Divine Fist. Heaven-ranked martial techniques were not rare in the Kunlun realm. However, peak martial techniques with astronomical prices were not that common. Several rank 9 sects only had a few of them. Furthermore, one needed to make a great contribution to obtain one. Otherwise, even true inheritors would not have a chance to practice it. The moment this fist technique appeared, it quickly attracted the attention of several people. Even the martial sages on the second floor cast their gazes over. However, Old Qin's next words dampened everyone's interest. This is a deity race martial technique. As everyone knows, aside from talent, the deity race martial techniques have certain requirements for mental energy and vital qi. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to practice them to the strongest level. The deity race was born with divine strength. Their physical bodies were much stronger than humans. Furthermore, they mainly cultivated mental energy. Hence, the focus of their martial techniques was different from that of humans. Chapter 753. Although they both cultivated the martial Tao, they each had their own specialties. Human martial techniques focused on state and form, while deity race martial techniques focused on spirituality. They developed in a slightly different direction. However, it was hard to say which was stronger and which was weaker. It still depended on the individual. The starting price is 50,000 astral coins. Start bidding. After Old Qin finished his introduction, he looked down with some anticipation. No matter what, this was a peak heaven-ranked martial technique. There would definitely be a market for it. Vital Qi is still fine. However, deity race martial techniques have very high requirements for mental energy. If you really practice it, you will only be able to bring out the might of a regular heaven-ranked martial technique. However, this price is still fair. You did not ask for an exorbitant price. If it does not exceed 100,000 astral coins, I can consider it. Although it was a deity race heaven-ranked martial technique, many people were still very interested. After a few bids, this myriad heaven divine fist reached 80,000 astral coins. 150,000 astral coins. A voice filled with desolate killing intent came from one of the VIP rooms on the second floor. In an instant, many excited cultivators were killed. That voice seemed to have a strong deterrent force. The moment it appeared, no one dared to make a sound. It looked like the owner of this voice was familiar to many of the cultivators here. Several of the cultivators who had the ability to bid remained silent. They did not want to compete with that person, or rather, they did not dare to. The third rank of the 10 evils, Zhong Zhenghao, actually wants this deity race martial technique. This is really strange. His famous consummate technique is already a peak heaven-ranked martial technique. Who knows? It is impossible to guess the thoughts of these major characters. Soft discussions broke out in the surroundings. It turned out that the person who bid was the infamous Zhong Zhenghao in Hunluo City. The others did not want to get involved with him, so they gave up on bidding. Although my Dragon Claw fist is barely sufficient, it can no longer keep up with my progress. Back when I fought with Wu Yuankai, if I had an even more powerful fist technique, I would not have needed to use schemes to scare away my opponent, I would have been able to make him stay. This myriad heaven divine fist is like it was tailor-made for me. My vital qi and mental energy are far stronger than ordinary people. I can definitely cultivate this martial technique to the peak. Xiao Chen thought for a while and quickly made a decision. He said, 200,000 astral coins. The entire arena was silent. Countless gazes turned toward Xiao Chen. Did this fellow not know who he was fighting with? That was the third ranked of Hunluo City's 10 great evildoers, a bona fide martial sage expert. He was definitely a major character in Hunluo City. The true disciples of the 6 great system-allocated sects were also very curious. They gathered their gazes on Xiao Chen, wanting to find out just who this person was. What trump card did Xiao Chen have to dare offend a martial sage loose cultivator? However, all of them were disappointed without exception. Xiao Chen's divine sense formed an invisible barrier around him, blocking all the incoming mental power outside. Huh. Little fellow, you are good. I'll leave this deity race martial technique with you for safekeeping. A sinister laugh sounded in his mind. Zhong Zhenghao had given up on the auction. It seemed like he was planning to kill and rob. That made sense. Loose cultivators had always been like this. Furthermore, they needed to save enough astral coins for the broken mulberry sword. They would not spend too much on this deity race martial technique. Xiao Chen ignored this person's threat. The myriad heaven divine fist was very useful to him. He had to obtain it. No matter who it was, he had to fight for it. The grand finale of the auction was about to begin. However, Xiao Chen was not in the mood to remain. After offending a martial sage, it was best to leave early. Taking advantage of the bustling auction, Xiao Chen quietly left the hall. He went to the back and paid the 200,000 astral coins, obtaining the myriad heaven divine fist. The cover and paper of the myriad heaven divine fist were all golden. When Xiao Chen held it in his hand, it felt very heavy. A divine aura spread out from it. Xiao Chen casually flipped through a few pages. Immediately, he felt his mental energy being drawn out like a surging river. Golden light continuously poured out from the pages. As the light flickered, the divine aura became even more vast. Scenes of deities fighting and killing appeared before Xiao Chen's eyes. Those were distant myths and epics, magnificent and boundless. Xiao Chen closed the book with a "pa" sound. Although he appeared fatigued, a look of joy flashed in his eyes. To others, the myriad heaven divine fist could only be used as an ordinary heaven-ranked martial technique. However, to Xiao Chen, it was a bona fide peak heaven-ranked martial technique. Young Master Xiao, Venerable Nangong invites you for a gathering. The manservant in the hall said respectfully to Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen had expected this long ago. He withdrew the myriad heaven divine fist and smiled. Lead the way. In the most magnificent room on the top floor of the flourishing heaven pavilion, Xiao Chen saw Nangong Qiong toying with the breaking sage pill's alchemic recipe. Xiao Chen did not stand on ceremony. He sat down across from Nangong Qiong and poured himself a cup of fine wine on the table. Young Master Zhao's boldness is truly admirable. A trash-like breaking sage pill actually sold for 400,000 astral coins. Nangong Qiong had a rough understanding of alchemy. However, when she looked at the alchemic recipe for the breaking sage pill, she felt confused. The method of extracting liquid, condensing the pill, and molding it was completely different from what she knew. Now, she even felt somewhat curious. Did Xiao Chen really grasp the immortal Tao's alchemy method? He was not like other alchemists who only wanted to use this alchemic recipe to broaden their horizons. However, this thought only lasted for a moment. In the long history of the Kunlun realm, there had been countless geniuses in alchemy. However, aside from Grandmaster Jin, no one else had grasped the immortal Tao's alchemy method. Nangong Qiong did not believe that the person before her could grasp it. That would be too shocking. Regardless of the reason, Nangong Qiong only needed to know that Xiao Chen cared a lot about this alchemic recipe. Xiao Chen put down his wine cup and stared at the other party for a while. Then, he smiled and said, "You are really an interesting person. 2 days ago, you told me that the base price of this alchemic recipe was already too high. 2 days later, you spent 410,000 astral coins to buy it. At that time, the base price of the alchemic recipe was 30,000 astral coins. If Xiao Chen wanted to buy it in advance, he would have needed to spend 30,000 astral coins. When Xiao Chen heard that the base price was already too high, he decided to give up on the base price. He planned to wait until the auction. At that time, he would be able to save 20,000 astral coins. Naturally, Xiao Chen was happy to save 20,000 astral coins by waiting 2 days. However, he had not expected this girl to play tricks on him. Nangong Qiong's lips curled up, not caring about Xiao Chen's teasing. She said, "Since you like to hide from me so much, I can only use some unconventional methods. I'll cut to the chase. I need you to help me with something. After this is done, not only will I give you this alchemic recipe for free, but I will also give you 400,000 astral coins." Xiao Chen raised his eyebrows and entered deep thought. During today's auction, the top true inheritors of the 6 major sects fought over defensive superior grade secret treasures. The price they spent was more than double that of usual. If not for some urgent matter, they would not have been so generous. Only a sufficiently large profit could make this group of people pay up. Several 100,000 astral coins was not a small sum to anyone. If I guessed correctly, the thing you want me to help you with is 10 days from now, right? When Nangong Cheong heard this, shock appeared on her smooth, jade-like face. She said, "You are new to Hunluo City and have no background. How did you know?" Indeed, this confirmed some of his guesses. Xiao Chen smiled and said, "I do not know anything. However, I will not have time in 10 days. I already promised the Eternal Heavenly Sword School's Mo Ling Tian that I will help him." Nangong Cheong had not expected Xiao Chen to reply like this. She frowned slightly. She stood up and paced around the room, muttering something to herself. Soon, she revealed a smile and said, "I got it. I will accompany you 10 days from now." Mo Ling Tian is extremely conceited. In his eyes, only the three holy masters are comparable to him. You killed the people of his Eternal Heavenly Sword School, and he is seeking you for help. He definitely has malicious intentions. Nangong Cheong's gem-like eyes flickered with a somewhat fanatical light. The more she spoke, the more smoothly she continued, "He is definitely using you to pave the way for him. At that time, he will shake you off and kill you without anyone knowing. You and I will work together. With my help, we can turn the tables on him, saving us a lot of effort." Nangong Cheong finished speaking in one breath. Her face filled with excitement as she looked at Xiao Chen with longing. Xiao Chen was flabbergasted. At this moment, Nangong Cheong no longer exuded any air of nobility. She looked rather fanatical, not caring about her status at all. "How is it? What do you think?" Nangong Cheong's eyes burned with passion as she urged Xiao Chen to make a decision. Xiao Chen smiled embarrassedly and said, "Miss Nangong, you forgot yourself." It looked like Xiao Chen had been fooled by Nangong Cheong's outward appearance. This girl should be of noble birth. That air of hers was not something that could be faked. However, when it came to scheming against someone, she spoke confidently. She did not realize that anyone who dared to work with her would be betrayed in the blink of an eye. Nangong Cheong recovered her wits. She had a somewhat embarrassed expression on her pretty face. She coughed, and her air returned to normal. The noble air in her blood slowly spread out. However, when Xiao Chen saw her true appearance, he only found it funny. After thinking for a while, he said, "I promise you. You will come with me to meet Mo Ling Tian in 10 days. However, you can tell me the specifics now, right?" Nangong Cheong smiled faintly and said, "I think it is better to let Mo Ling Tian tell you 10 days later. I will arrange a place for you to stay for the next few days. That will guarantee your safety." Since Xiao Chen could not get an answer from Nangong Cheong, he did not say anything more. After chatting for a while, he left. Faint ripples appeared in space in a gorgeous room. Then, an old woman walked out with a sullen expression. The old woman's strength was unfathomable. She asked in a hoarse voice, "Miss, why not use the people of the main clan? That is too dangerous." Nangong Cheong smiled faintly and replied softly, "That is not the case. The core grave of the Star Grave Palace requires a physical body cultivator. Xiao Chen is the most suitable candidate. When the grave opens this time, not only will the descendants of the heavenly rock race come, but the true inheritors of the 6 great sects and some of the nearby fiend race geniuses will also receive the news. At that time, a fierce battle will be unavoidable. If the Nangong clan's identity is exposed, they will definitely surround and attack us. It is better to hide in Mo Lingtian's team and use this egomaniac as a spear." After the auction ended, Xiao Chen received some good news. The one who won the Thunder King's broken mulberry sword was the evil person, Zhong Zhenghao, who competed with Xiao Chen for the Myriad Heaven Divine Fist. Chapter 754. Rumor had it that after Zhong Zhenghao obtained the broken sword, he left the flourishing Heaven Pavilion's territory and was immediately attacked by the other martial sages. Zhong Zhenghao was too busy to deal with Xiao Chen. However, Xiao Chen would definitely come for the broken sword of the Thunderwood sword. His grudge with Zhong Zhenghao would not end here. "I hope that you can escape this calamity and help me keep it safe for a while. Xiao Chen smiled gently and gave Zhong Zhenghao his blessings. Then, he started to seriously read the Myriad Heaven Divine Fist. An unknown storm brewed. The heroes everywhere were sharpening their weapons, no matter what it was for. Xiao Chen was already involved. If he wanted to protect himself and obtain benefits, he needed to improve his strength further. The only way to increase his strength in a short time was the Myriad Heaven Divine Fist in his hand. This time, when Xiao Chen flipped through the golden pages, he let his mental energy pour in like a gushing river, not stopping it. As Xiao Chen infused his mental energy, the pages gave off a bright, dazzling golden light. The pages flipped automatically. According to the distant legends, deities descended from the light. Majestic music played on the battlefield. This was an epic legend. As the people sang it, it was passed down through the ages. Without needing to memorize it, the various moves of the Myriad Heaven Divine Fist imprinted themselves in Xiao Chen's mind. The distant legends of the ancient deity race also presented a magnificent, boundless, and majestic picture before Xiao Chen. The radiance of deities and some of the mysteries of the Myriad Heaven Divine Fist complementing each other. When Xiao Chen completely drained his mental energy, the page stopped in the middle. There were still 3 moves on the latter half of the page that he had not flipped through. The golden light in Xiao Chen's eyes dimmed continuously. It flickered with a faint, majestic light, rampaging wildly within. Without needing to comprehend it at all, Xiao Chen completely understood the mysteries of the first 4 moves of the Myriad Heaven Divine Fist. Closing his eyes, Xiao Chen started to absorb these mysteries. After a while, he opened his eyes. The light was no longer dimmed. However, his pitch-black eyes seemed even more filled with intelligence. As Xiao Chen's gaze paused on the pages of the secret manual, he felt that it was a pity. If he had more mental energy, he would have been able to comprehend the last few moves of the Myriad Heaven Divine Fist. He gently flipped through the pages with his fingers, but no light appeared. After reading through the entire content, he was still confused and had no idea what to do. The deity race's martial techniques are truly incredible. As long as one has sufficient mental energy, one can directly comprehend the mysteries within. Without spiritual power, even if I look at it, I won't have a clue. Xiao Chen closed the secret manual again. Still not satisfied, he said, if only I could read the last 3 moves in one go. If an outsider heard this, they would probably go mad with anger. With the mental strength of an ordinary martial artist, they would be overjoyed to be able to see a complete move. This fellow had seen 4 moves in one go, yet he was still not satisfied. Even the peerless geniuses of the god race would be inferior to Xiao Chen in this realm. Furthermore, Xiao Chen was so dissatisfied. He was really not afraid of the wrath of the heavens and the people. The Myriad Heaven Divine Fist had a total of 7 moves. Each move was incredibly strong. They were distant legend, radiance of deities, deities descending, chains of deities, eternal myth, dusk of deities, and the final move, burial of deities. Xiao Chen did not have enough mental strength to see the last 3 moves. He could only plan for them in the future. After taking a deep breath, Xiao Chen stretched his body and prepared to practice the first move of the Myriad Heaven Divine Fist, distant legend. After taking a deep breath and recovering some of his mental strength, Xiao Chen started to circulate the distant legend. The various mysteries of the Divine Fist appeared in Xiao Chen's mind without much thought. Suddenly, a golden light lit up in Xiao Chen's pitch-black eyes. A resonant poem resounded in the world. It sounded like countless believers were singing in praise, praising the legendary deities. The poem was holy and resonant, flowing continuously. When they merged together, it traversed the river of stars and time, reaching the other side. The golden light in Xiao Chen's eyes grew denser. His entire body was covered in light. His vital qi, veritable essence energy, and mental energy drained rapidly. Vaguely, Xiao Chen seemed to sense the deep gazes of the deities in the heavenly kingdom, far beyond the other side. That was a distant legend. At this moment, Xiao Chen felt it personally. The energy traversed the distance between time and space and the other side, pouring into his body. Xiao Chen soared into the air and punched. His fist whistled, and the sound it gave off overlapped with the holy song. Space trembled, and the golden light immediately burst out, filling the air and turning it into a golden canvas that lingered for a long time. Xiao Chen gently turned around and landed on the ground. When he saw the dense golden light in the air, joy appeared in his eyes. In that earlier punch, Xiao Chen's mental energy, vital qi, and veritable essence energy actually merged together, forming a new energy. If someone had stood in front of him earlier, the light from his fist would have been enough to turn that person into dust. Xiao Chen did not stop to rest. He continued practicing the second move of the myriad heaven divine fist. Distant legend, the deities of the other side, I pray in my heart, praying for the deities to send down their radiance to wash away the boundless darkness and sin of this world. On the other side of space and time, the many gazes that Xiao Chen sensed earlier all focused on him. Whoosh! 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 Instantly, beams of golden light carrying vast and majestic energy traversed the boundless space and time, breaking through the void for thousands of kilometers, gathering on Xiao Chen's body. The golden light on Xiao Chen's body did not fade. His hair fluttered in the wind, scattering golden motes of light. The instant the light descended, Xiao Chen instantly attacked, punching the void again. Boom! Silently, the golden light flowed along Xiao Chen's fist and formed a huge and dazzling pillar of light. Then, it shot forward, opening a golden passageway. Everywhere the pillar of light passed, all obstacles turned to dust. This was the radiance of the deities. Deities descending. For the third move of the myriad heaven divine fist, a golden figure appeared high in the sky. It tore through the barrier of the sky and scattered the boundless clouds. Then, it landed on Xiao Chen's body with a whoosh. Instantly, Xiao Chen's aura soared. As his clothes fluttered, it seemed like everything bowed to him. As he walked, heaven and earth trembled. The energy in Xiao Chen's body soared for no reason. Deities descending seemed to have the same effect as the strength character art's 33-fold increase in combat prowess. Both could instantly multiply one's combat prowess. The difference was that the strength character art was more tyrannical, directly increasing one's combat prowess by 33-fold. Even if one's veritable essence energy could not bear it, it would not just increase it by 2 or 3 times. Once executed, it would increase one's combat prowess by 33-fold. If one's physical body was not strong enough, even if one killed the enemy, one would be exhausted, losing all combat prowess. This was also why Xiao Chen would not execute the strength character art unless he had no other choice. As for deities descending, although it was not as tyrannical and exaggerated as 33-fold combat prowess, it used the power of an ancient deity king, so the burden on one's body was not as great. Bang! Xiao Chen's aura soared continuously. His expression remained calm as he punched the ground ferociously. There was no earth-shattering sound. 100-meter-wide pit silently appeared in the ground. There was no dust filling the air. The force of one punch directly crushed all the dust into nothing. Xiao Chen withdrew his fist, and a divine light immediately shot out from his body, shooting into the sky like a meteor. Xiao Chen's aura plummeted, and the originally vast and boundless energy instantly scattered. The force of one punch can bring out about 10-fold combat prowess. It is far inferior to the strength character art. However, it is more useful to me now. Xiao Chen analyzed calmly as he looked at the deep pit in the ground. A ruthless look flashed in his eyes as he said, "With this punch, I can defeat Wu Yuankai, who only has 1/3 of his veritable essence energy left." The myriad heaven divine fist did not exhaust much veritable essence energy. It relied on vital qi and mental energy. The mental energy in Xiao Chen's sea of consciousness still had more than 1 million kilograms of force. However, he had not developed it sufficiently. Not to mention mental energy, just vital qi alone could already exert 1 million kilograms of force. However, Xiao Chen still used the superior grade Earth-ranked Dragon Claw Fist, which could no longer keep up with his progress. Today, the myriad heaven divine fist utilized the 2 great treasures in Xiao Chen's body to their fullest potential. Retracting his gaze, Xiao Qin looked calmly to the front and circulated the fourth move of the myriad heaven divine fist. As he circulated his mental energy and vital qi drained. 99 golden chains appeared out of nowhere behind Xiao Qin. Divine scripts flowed on the golden chains. As they spun, they looked like long dragons, carrying an overwhelming aura as they charged forward. They were like a vast army, vast and mighty. With a thought from Xiao Qin, the 99 golden chains vanished into thin air, leaving no trace behind. The greatest use of the divine chains was for sealing. Without a strong target, it would be hard to test out its might without actual combat. After executing the fourth move, Xiao Qin sat down cross-legged and closed his eyes to continue comprehending. After all, there were some mysteries that he knew in his heart. However, only by putting them into action could he truly understand them. After a long time, Xiao Qin opened his eyes. His pitch-black eyes were clear. He entered deep thought. The myriad heaven divine fist should still be lacking something. However, he could not figure out what exactly it was. Based on Xiao Qin's understanding, the might of this fist technique should be far beyond this. In the future, when he advanced to martial sage, he might be able to see even further. Perhaps he might be able to touch the other side of the starry heavens, the distant legend of the deity race's heavenly nation that never faded. 5 days later, Nangong Qiong removed her extravagant attire and replaced it with plain clothes, concealing the noble aura in her bloodline. Then, she appeared before Xiao Qin. She sized up Xiao Qin and felt it was strange. After not seeing him for 5 days, Xiao Qin seemed to have undergone a complete transformation. However, his cultivation clearly had not improved much. Nangong Qiong thought of something, and a strange light flashed in her eyes. She asked, Xiao Qin, how many moves of the myriad heaven divine fist that you obtained from the auction? Xiao Qin smiled faintly. Naturally, he would not tell Nangong Qiong the truth. This girl's origins were mysterious, and she was very strong. He could not figure her out. Furthermore, she was very cunning. She was not as simple as she looked on the surface. When traveling with this girl, he needed to be more careful. Let's not talk about this. Since you came to look for me, you should be setting off, right? Nangong Qiong was rather tactful. Since Xiao Qin was not willing to say, she did not pursue the matter. She only made a mental note of it. Then, she smiled and said, that's right. With our speed, we should be able to reach the Eternal Heavenly Sword School in 5 days. Chapter 755. Xiao Qin tidied himself up and asked casually, aren't you afraid that Imo Lingtian will recognize you if you go to the Eternal Heavenly Sword School like this? Nangong Qiong smiled and said, naturally, I am not afraid. I have only been in Hunluo City for a month or so. Don't worry. Indeed, it was as Xiao Qin had guessed. This woman should be a high-ranking member of the Flourishing Heaven Pavilion's headquarters and not an insignificant supremacy of the local Flourishing Heaven Pavilion. Not long after stepping out of the courtyard, Xiao Qin sensed that someone was watching him. Nangong Qiong also frowned slightly and said, you really have a lot of troubles. Should we deal with them first? Xiao Qin's expression did not change as he guessed who it was. A murderous intent flashed in his eyes as he said, there is no need to care. He is waiting for me to leave the city, and I am also waiting for him. After leaving the city and traveling 50 kilometers, Xiao Qin's pupils constricted on a remote path. As expected, he saw Wu Yuankai with a ferocious expression and surging killing qi. Wu Yuankai wore a pair of dark gold gloves. As he looked at Xiao Qin, his face twitched. He smiled sinisterly and said, you are really bold. You left the city in less than 10 days. Do you really think that I was just joking? Why is this fellow so daring? Can't he see that I'm standing together with Nangong Qiong? Xiao Qin thought, finding it strange. However, Xiao Qin discovered that Nangong Qiong was smiling faintly. At some point in time, she had already moved a kilometer away. Her arms were crossed over her chest, as if this matter did not concern her. This woman, today, I have nothing to fear. Let's see what else you can do. Die! Before Xiao Chen could think, Wu Yuankai had already charged over with a flourishing aura. His fists swept out wildly, and many sinister underworld rivers surged over. Xiao Chen's eyes flickered. He tapped the ground with the tip of his foot and dodged the attack. Wu Yuankai had been suppressing his anger for so many days, and this was the time when his aura was at its peak. He would let him vent his anger first. Bang, bang, bang. The nether rivers covered in black energy danced in the air like raging dragons. The cries of vengeful spirits echoed endlessly, as if a terrifying purgatory had descended upon the mortal realm. Wu Yuankai's black hair was scattered, and his expression was ferocious. He glared at Xiao Chen, who was dodging all over the place, and chased after him. His fist, which was wrapped in a pair of dark gold gloves, shot out a power that caused the air to tremble, rumbling non-stop. White-robed brat, weren't you very powerful that day? Why are you so timid now? Rage burned in Wu Yuankai's heart. He looked at Xiao Chen, who was avoiding the fight, and shouted arrogantly and delightedly. As his white robes fluttered, Xiao Chen smiled faintly and ignored him. He held the sheathed lunar shadow saber in his left hand and casually swung it, scattering the fist wind. As the nether river filled the sky, Xiao Chen rode on the blue dragon image, moving back and forth like the wind. Under Wu Yuankai's wild attacks, huge pits appeared on the ground. Dirt flew everywhere, filling the air with dust and covering the sun. Bastard! If you have the guts, then don't run. Relying on the blue dragon cloud soaring art, Xiao Chen flew up and down. Wu Yuankai did his best, sending out all sorts of horrifying attacks. However, they always brushed past Xiao Chen's shoulders. At first, Wu Yuankai's delighted shout turned into a roar of rage and dissatisfaction. Xiao Chen's heart turned cold. He had already made up his mind to make this person stay, not leaving behind any future problems. Naturally, he would not care about the other party's verbal attacks. It's about time. After another 100 moves, Wu Yuankai's aura ran out. Xiao Chen narrowed his eyes and placed his right hand on the saber hilt. The aura that he had been suppressing for a long time burst out. Hidden dragon in the abyss, soaring dragon in the sky. If I do not make a move, then I will let you shout as you please. However, if I make a move, it will definitely be earth-shattering, incomparably sharp. Xiao Chen stomped on the air with his right foot, and the surging black nether river immediately scattered, turning into black rain falling down. Before Wu Yuankai could react, Xiao Chen turned into a true dragon and soared into the air. Then, he drew the lunar shadow saber at lightning speed. Boom! 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 Loud sounds rang out endlessly. The black nether river dancing chaotically in the air scattered like dry weeds before Xiao Chen's soaring saber light. Wu Yuankai's expression turned startled. He had not expected Xiao Chen, who had been suppressing himself for so long, to unleash such a startling might after making his move. Without much time to think, Wu Yuankai moved his fists and materialized the 9 layers of purgatory painting at an extremely fast speed. At the same time, he quickly retreated. Xiao Chen smiled coldly to himself, my aura flourishes. The momentum of a true dragon soaring is completely formed. How can the 9 layers of purgatory that you materialized in a hurry block it? In merely the blink of an eye, Xiao Chen scattered the newly formed 9 layers of purgatory. The dragon soared into the sky, its momentum not decreasing. Wu Yuankai cursed. He had no choice but to receive this move head-on. Bang! His protective quintessence nearly shattered. Blood leaked out of a corner of Wu Yuankai's lips as he retreated 100 steps. He glared hatefully at Xiao Chen and immediately launched a counterattack. However, even though Wu Yuankai was fast, Xiao Chen was even faster. Since Xiao Chen had already caused his opponent's momentum to plummet, how could he give him a chance to turn things around? Ghostly image chop. The saber light split apart, and Xiao Chen sent out 72 saber lights, forming a sea of lightning that knocked Wu Yuankai back again. Following that, there was another unpredictable saber chi. Wu Yuankai had experienced this before, so he dodged in advance, narrowly dodging the saber chi. The saber chi brushed past him. Blue dragon goes to sea. Blue dragon goes to sea. Blue dragon goes to sea. After his first attack failed, Xiao Chen immediately turned around and executed the first move of the dragon subduing slash, not caring about the quintessence consumption. A blue dragon broke out of the vast sea mysterious phenomenon. Its ferocious roar resounded throughout the world. The 300-meter dragon-shaped saber chi carried a vast dragon might as it hacked at Wu Yuankai. Wu Yuankai moved back 6 times in a row, repeatedly retreating. He could no longer hold back a mouthful of blood, vomiting it. Then, he said in a crazed manner, "Ha ha ha. Come on. Continue. Continue. This old man wants to see how many resources you can squander." Xiao Chen remained silent. He swung his saber 4 more times, sending out a total of 10 blue dragon goes to sea before he stopped. Wu Yuankai, who had been knocked back in the air, was now in a sorry state. His long hair was disheveled, and his complexion was pale. Blood continuously leaked out of a corner of his lips. In reality, even if the 7 giants used 10 heaven-ranked martial techniques consecutively, they would not fare much better than Wu Yuankai. Nangong Qiong, who had already retreated 3 kilometers away, revealed a shocked expression. She said, "Is this fellow crazy? No matter how much quintessence he has, he should not use it like this." Wu Yuankai, who was in a sorry state, looked at Xiao Chen, who had sheathed his saber. Then, he reared his head back and laughed maniacally. He said, "Who asked you to be so arrogant? Die!" 9 underworld rivers descended from the sky behind Wu Yuankai. His quintessence surged as he charged over with an overwhelming baleful aura. Myriad Heaven Divine Fist, Distant Legend. Xiao Chen casually tossed the lunar shadow saber to the ground. Suddenly, a golden light lit up in Xiao Chen's eyes. Suddenly, countless resonant sagely songs resounded in the air. A vast divine aura radiated from Xiao Chen's body, which gave off a golden glow. Xiao Chen, who had exhausted most of his quintessence, charged over fearlessly at the frenzied Wu Yuankai. As Xiao Chen moved, the sagely songs surrounded him. The gazes of the deities on the other side of the starry heavens opened their eyes and focused on him. Bang! Xiao Chen punched, and his fist merged with the sagely songs. A boundless golden light poured out. In that instant, the 9 sinister underworld rivers, which covered the sky, were illuminated by the light, leaving nowhere to run. Chi. The black underworld rivers were purified into strands of black chi that scattered into the air. Wu Yuankai bore the brunt of the attack. When the light landed on him, it was like a flame burning him up, causing him to cry out in pain. Radiance of deities. Xiao Chen's expression did not change. His black hair gave off a golden light as it fluttered wildly in the air. The gazes of the deities crossed the distance between the starry heavens and the other side and focused on him. Xiao Chen's fist burst forth with a bright light, looking like a small golden sun, dazzling and dazzling. Wu Yuankai had just gotten rid of the golden light on his body. When he saw this piercing golden light, he was so frightened that he paled. Didn't this fellow exhaust his quintessence? How can he still be so powerful? The golden pillar of light turned into a fist wind as it flew forward. Everywhere it passed, the dust scattered, but the light did not fade. Wu Yuankai did not dare to be careless. He unleashed all the heavenly sage laws that he had comprehended, quickly materializing a complete underworld river with 9 coils around him. At this moment, Wu Yuankai brought out the might of the blood shadow underworld river fist to its limits. When it clashed with the blazing pillar of light, it gave off a horrifying sound. Shock waves surged out in the air. Nangong Qiong, who was 3 kilometers away, changed her expression slightly. She quickly retreated, and the golden shock waves brushed past her face. If she had retreated any later, she would have been caught up in the shock waves. When she felt the hot wind on her face, her expression turned extremely grave. In a mere 5 days, he learned 2 moves of the Myriad Heaven Divine Fist. This fellow is truly unfathomable. However, what shocked Nangong Cheong even more was that when Wu Yuankai faced Xiao Chen, who executed the light of deities, he felt like leaving. After clashing head-on several times, Wu Yuankai was severely injured. Originally, he thought that after Xiao Chen exhausted his quintessence, he could do whatever he wanted to him. However, he did not know where Xiao Chen learned such a horrifying fist technique. As Xiao Chen watched Wu Yuankai flee in a sorry state, his lips curled up. He said in a low voice, "It is already too late to think of running now." Deities descending. The golden image of a deity sovereign tore through the barrier of the sky for tens of thousands of kilometers. It was like a divine light entering Xiao Chen's body. Instantly, Xiao Chen's aura soared. He gave off a bright light, and everything in the world prostrated themselves in worship. Even Nangong Cheong's mental state changed somewhat. The image of Xiao Chen in her eyes was like a deity, deterring all thoughts of resistance. Bang! Xiao Chen pushed off the air, and the entire space shook. Cracks spread out in a spiderweb pattern on the ground, forming bottomless ravines. Like a meteor chasing the moon, Xiao Chen caught up to the fleeing Wu Yuankai in an instant. Berserk energy burst out from his fist. Wu Yuankai could not resist at all. With one punch, his body exploded into a shower of blood, filling the air. The divine light in Xiao Chen's body faded away. He stretched out his hand and grabbed Wu Yuankai's spatial ring and the pair of valuable dark gold gloves into his universe ring. With a casual wave, the lunar shadow saber stabbed into the ground returned to Xiao Chen's hand. Then, he gently landed before Nangong Cheong. "Paw! Paw! Paw!" A cheerful smile appeared on Nangong Cheong's face. She clapped her jade-like hands and said, "Young Master Xiao is very skilled. No wonder you dared to challenge Bai Wuxue." After watching the show for so long, Xiao Chen only said this. He could not feel happy about having this woman as his companion. Chapter 756. After the two of them left, they did not know that in the clouds 3,000 meters in the sky, a pair of pearl-like eyes had seen everything that had just happened. Whoosh! In the clouds, little heavenly monkey, the genius of the Fiend Domain's giant ape race, gently landed on the ground. Looking at the cobweb-like ravines on the ground, Fang's frivolous face revealed a grave expression under his messy hair. This fellow's myriad heaven divine fist is actually much stronger than several of the young deity race experts. There is also that girl. If I am not wrong, she should be a descendant of a hidden sovereign clan. Feng raised his head and watched the two leave. His lips curled up slightly as he said, "However, this is good as well." Snatching the great rock spreading wings painting piece from the trash of the 6 great sects is simply too boring. However, he would have to postpone his promise to his first uncle. Feng pushed off the ground and instantly moved 1 kilometer forward. There was no wind or waves, no sound at all as he vanished from where he was. 5 days later, Xiao Chen and Nangong Cheong arrived at the gate at the foot of the Eternal Heavenly Sword School. It was a continuous mountain range that towered into the clouds. Spiritual mist spread throughout the mountain range, giving off a refreshing smell. When one opened their mouth and inhaled, they would feel refreshed. When one looked up, there was an indistinct spiritual light between the mountain peaks, forming rings of different colors in the sky. The rings of light were hidden in the clouds, appearing and disappearing, adding to the mystery. Xiao Chen looked around and said, "I did not expect this Eternal Heavenly Sword School to have more than 10 rank 4 spirit veins in the main peak." Rank 4 spirit veins were also known as peak spirit veins. They could produce superior grade spirit stones. 10 rank 4 spirit veins could produce a large number of rank 4 spirit stones in a year. Nangong Cheong's lips curled up as she said, "Your horizons are really extraordinary. Of these 10 peak spirit veins, none of them are of high quality. Only the main peak has a high-quality peak spirit vein. Such a huge rank 8 sect does not even have a holy spirit vein. The Eternal Heavenly Sword School is only a so-so." At the foot of the mountain was a vast drill ground. More than 1,000 Eternal Heavenly Sword School inner sect disciples were practicing the lightning light fleeing shadows sword technique. Sparks of lightning leaped on the swords. As the sword lights danced, they guided the thunderclouds materialized by the state of thunder above their heads. More than 1,000 disciples executed the same sword technique, and it was the same concept. Every single move could easily cause wind and thunder and lightning to rumble. The scene looked extremely grand, giving off a strong sense of oppression. At this moment, if a martial sage wanted to barge in forcefully, he would definitely be beaten back miserably. Nangong Cheong looked at the thousands of inner sect disciples on the drill ground with mighty auras. She smiled meaningfully and said, "What a great thunder-light fleeing shadows sword." Unfortunately, the only thing worth praising in this eternal heavenly sword school is not your own. As Xiao Chen looked at this girl, a strange light flashed in his eyes. This Nangong Cheong seemed to have a great background. Unexpectedly, she knew that the Thunder King created this thunder-light fleeing shadows sword. Ao Jiao, who was in the immortal spirit ring, looked at the huge statue of the eternal heavenly sword sage on the drill ground. She was stunned. She had not expected the eternal heavenly sword sage to be this person. Little Ao Jiao, do you recognize who that eternal heavenly sword sage is? Ao Jiao's voice turned somewhat cold as she replied, "This person came to the Kunlun realm together with the Thunder King. Sangmu took good care of him and had a deep friendship with him. How could he claim all the martial techniques that the Thunder King created for himself? Mo Ling Tian is here. You know what to say later, right?" Nangong Cheong suddenly said. Xiao Chen stood outside the mountain gates and looked in. Mo Ling Tian led a group of people through the drill ground, heading towards the two of them in a grandiose manner. Mo Ling Tian must have made arrangements long ago, sending people to guard Xiao Chen at the foot of the mountain. Hence, before the two of them entered the mountain gates, Mo Ling Tian came out. After leaving the mountain gates, Mo Ling Tian led the group of people over to Xiao Chen. His handsome face did not reveal any expression as he said casually, "You are here." As Mo Ling Tian spoke, he gave off an aloof attitude. It was as though he was giving Xiao Chen a lot of face by letting him come. Xiao Chen did not care about this. He nodded casually and sized up the 5 old men behind the old man without anyone noticing. The 5 old men all had deep auras. They were half-sages. Furthermore, they were half-sages who comprehended heavenly sage laws, only slightly weaker than Wu Yuankai. "Who is she? I don't think I asked you to bring anyone else." When Mo Ling Tian saw Nangong Cheong behind Xiao Chen, his expression changed, and he spoke in an extremely displeased tone. Xiao Chen and Nangong Cheong had already arranged what to say. He smiled faintly and said, "This is a friend who came with me from the Sky Dome realm. Her strength is equal to mine. With her accompanying me, I will definitely be able to help you better." Mo Ling Tian snorted coldly and sized up Nangong Cheong with a playful gaze. He said coldly, "Xiao Chen, you overestimate yourself. Is someone who is equal to you considered an expert? What do you think I am going to do? I can bring anyone. Bringing you is already breaking the rules. To think that you dare to take the liberty of bringing someone else." Xiao Chen even felt like dying. Not only did Mo Ling Tian call him to be a free fighter, but he even showed such an annoying expression. This Mo Ling Tian was truly the best of the best. Just as Xiao Chen was about to lose control, Nangong Cheong stepped forward and smiled faintly, releasing some of her aura. Mo Ling Tian's expression immediately changed. He said, "A half-sage. I nearly misjudged you. If you can block a palm strike from me, I can bring you along." After Mo Ling Tian spoke, he stretched out his right palm. Electricity leaped around his palm, carrying the might of thunder as he sent it towards Nangong Cheong. Mo Ling Tian attacked in the time it took for a spark to fly, without any warning. However, Nangong Cheong did not panic at all. She calmly sent out a palm strike. Bang! The 2 palms clashed, and a strong wind immediately surged out, fluttering the clothes of the surrounding people. The dust on the ground also kicked up in that instant. Amidst the dust, Mo Ling Tian staggered and stepped back. He almost lost his balance and fell down. At the crucial moment, Xiaochen noticed the image of a pagoda appear around Mo Lingtian. Then, Mo Lingtian withdrew his hand and returned it to his dantian. The instant the pagoda appeared, Mo Lingtian immediately stabilized his retreat. When the dust settled, he appeared calm and unruffled, retreating very elegantly. Shock flashed in Mo Lingtian's eyes. He waved his hand and said, "Not bad. You can block a palm strike that I used 50% of my strength with your full strength. You are qualified to come with me. Lingtian, this woman's origins are unknown. Should we reconsider?" One of the old men behind Mo Lingtian sent a voice projection with a suspicious gaze. Hee. It's fine. A full power strike is only a so-so. I already refined the sage-grade pagoda. It will be easy for me to crush these two. Mo Lingtian appeared extremely confident. He continued to send a voice projection, "After this matter is over, kill Xiaochen and leave this woman alive. She is still of some use." The 5 old men thought about it and felt that it was not a big problem. Even without Mo Lingtian, if the 5 of them worked together, these two would not be able to cause any trouble. Xiaochen asked secretly, "Nangong Qiong, how much of your strength did you use earlier?" Nangong Qiong smiled craftily and replied with a voice projection, "About 30 to 40%. Xiaochen wondered what Mo Lingtian would think if he heard Nangong Qiong's words. The full power strike that he thought was only 30 to 40% of Nangong Qiong's strength. At the same time, a similar scene played out at the foot of the mountains of the 6th-rank 8 sects of Hunluo province. The top true inheritors of the various sects led several half-sage elders down the mountains in high spirits. In an inn near the flourishing Heaven Pavilion in Hunluo City, Xianyu, Bai, and the others gathered to discuss the same matter. Aside from the 4 people that Xiaochen saw back then, there was also a middle-aged man with a deep cultivation and a grave and stern expression. Xianyu said respectfully to this person, "Second uncle, the Heavenly Rock Race's people should have made their move already, right?" The middle-aged man nodded and said, "Yes. This time, for the sake of opening the Star Grave Palace, the Heavenly Rock Race put in a lot of effort. All the remaining experts of the race are mobilized." Jiang Zimo said sullenly, "In the history of the Fiend domain since the ancient era, the Heavenly Rock King is one of the top 10 sovereign Fiend emperors. His grave palace will definitely be filled with danger. If we are not careful, we will fall." The middle-aged man said, "The grave palace itself is not dangerous. The cultivators that will come after hearing the news are the greatest problem. However, for the sake of the Great Rock Spreading Wings painting and the other treasures that might be in the grave palace, this risk is worth it." After the group discussed for a while, they all went their separate ways and made their final preparations. Only the middle-aged man and Xianyu remained in the room. The middle-aged man glanced at Xianyu and smiled. "Unexpectedly, you managed to pull Bai out this time. I heard that the Fox King has taken a fancy to Bai and intends to adopt her as his daughter. If you manage to obtain this girl, it will be equivalent to establishing a relationship with the Fox King. Your future will be limitless. Our Xian clan's position in the Spirit Fox race will be even more stable." Xianyu smiled, feeling very pleased. "She is just a little girl. It will be easy for me to capture her. She comprehended the sword heart and even cultivates a mysterious cultivation technique. Her appearance and aura are even better than the young Wang Fei's. If I can obtain her, not only will the Fox King look at me in a new light, but there will also be countless benefits. It might even be possible for me to become the future Fox King." At the foot of the mountain, Xiaochen finally learned from Mo Lingtian what this trip was about. The Heavenly Rock King was a sovereign Fiend Emperor of the Fiend Domain's Heavenly Rock race. Before he died, he infused his comprehensions of cultivation into a Great Rock Spreading Wings painting. When the Heavenly Rock King was alive, he found a star in the boundless starry river and refined it into a palace. After he died, it became his grave palace. The Great Rock Spreading Wings painting was in this grave palace. However, when the Great Rock Spreading Wings painting was formed, the experts of the Heavenly Rock race actually started killing each other over the painting. However, after thinking about it, it was understandable. If one could obtain the lifetime comprehensions of a sovereign martial emperor, it would be of heaven-defying help to one's cultivation and future cultivation. During the fight, the great rock spreading wings painting was broken into several pieces. The moment the painting scroll crumbled, the moment the painting shattered, the horrifying energy that exploded out instantly blasted the peak martial sages of the heavenly rock race fighting for the painting into powder. Chapter 757. At that moment, the Star Grave Palace completely closed. According to the Heavenly Rock King's plan, no one above Martial Sage could enter. The Heavenly Rock King broke through the barrier of the sky and flew into the depths of the boundless starry heavens. Due to the Heavenly Rock King's death, the strong Heavenly Rock race's strength had decreased significantly. Furthermore, the peak cultivators of the race had all died in the fight for the painting. The golden age that the Heavenly Rock King created for the Heavenly Rock race was gone forever. The Heavenly Rock race's strength declined sharply. After a few thousand years, the Heavenly Rock race became the weakest of the 100 races of the Fiend domain. Every 100 years, the Star Grave Palace would pass above the Heavenly Rock race. The Heavenly Rock race had never given up on summoning the Star Grave Palace, praying that it could summon the Heavenly Rock race back to its former glory. There was confirmed news that after several generations of attempts by the Heavenly Rock race, the Heavenly Rock race was really going to summon the Star Grave Palace. As time passed, the once mighty Heavenly Rock race left the bustling areas of the Fiend domain long ago. They moved to the borders of the Fiend domain, to the Sand region 4,000 kilometers away from Hunluo province. The Sand region was a vast desert, desolate and devoid of life. All sorts of ferocious beasts roamed about. There were only a few small oases. For the Heavenly Rock race to end up in such a state, it was easy to imagine how weak it was. If ordinary people could not travel 4,000 kilometers, they would have to travel for a long time. However, to Mo Lingtian's group, it was not particularly far. In fact, it could be said to be very close. Flying skillfully allowed them to travel thousands of kilometers in a day. 8 days later, a seemingly endless golden desert appeared before the eyes of the eight. Mo Lingtian looked at the surging yellow sand and glanced at Xiao Qin behind him. His lips curled up as he said, "There are all sorts of ferocious beasts hiding under this desert. Flame sand snakes, muddy earth lizards, demonic spotted leopards, bone dragons, and many more. There are also the most troublesome gold corroding worms. Xiao Chen, your physical body is the strongest. You will lead the way. Send us to the Heavenly Rock race's summoning altar. I will point you in the right direction." Xiao Chen smiled coldly in his heart. This fellow is really impolite. Let me just treat it as tempering my physical body. I will settle the score with him later. Looking at Xiao Chen, who obediently came forward, the corners of Mo Lingtian's mouth curled up, revealing a proud smile. What white-robed bladesman! He is like a dog in my hands. Does he really think that he can obtain any benefits? Hee, Ling Tian, you're really something. What white-robed bladesman? To think that he dares to challenge Bai Wuxue. Before young master, he does not even dare to fart. When the 5 elders behind Mo Lingtian saw this, they immediately started to flatter Mo Lingtian. What do the 7 giants count for? I, Tianzhong, am outstanding. In the future, when I control the Eternal Heavenly Sword School, I will definitely become the Eternal Heavenly Emperor and shake the Kunlun realm with my might. Elders, let's go. The few of them sent voice transmissions to each other. Although they did not say it out loud, Nangong Qiong heard everything clearly. When she heard Mo Lingtian's final words, she nearly burst out laughing. Wu Yuankai, one of the insufferably arrogant 10 great evildoers of Hunluo City, could only be beaten up by Xiao Chen. It was unknown where Mo Lingtian got his confidence to look down on Xiao Chen like this. Bang, bang, bang. The blazing sun hung overhead, and yellow sand covered the ground. Occasionally, ferocious beasts leaped out of the sand. Xiao Chen did not hesitate. He executed the dragon claw fist and killed these ferocious beasts one by one. As Xiao Chen walked, he moved like a dragon or a tiger. As his fists and claws moved, dragons roared endlessly. Unless it was a ferocious beast above rank 9, most ferocious beasts would find it hard to survive more than 10 moves from Xiao Chen. As Xiao Chen practiced his punches and kicks on the scalding sand, he gained a lot. In the past, Xiao Chen had always cultivated on flat ground. The more complicated ones were grasslands and forests. He had never practiced in a harsh environment like the desert before. The blazing sun of the Kunlun realm was several times larger than that of the Sky Dome realm. This was the first time Xiao Chen experienced its might. Without clouds to block the blazing sun, Xiao Chen's clothes were completely soaked in sweat in less than 2 hours. He looked like he had just been fished out of a river. Xiao Chen's body suffered a torment for no apparent reason. If he were an ordinary person, he would definitely stop and rest properly, using his quintessence to block the sun and let himself feel better. However, Xiao Chen felt an incomparable carefree feeling. Under the blazing sun, he circulated his vital qi at full power. The integration of his muscles, bones, and blood seemed to have improved by another level. It felt like he could break through the shackles of a rank 1 sage body at any moment. Xiao Chen rejoiced in his heart. He could not help but put in even more effort to kill the ferocious beasts blocking his way. Mo Lingtian looked at the sweating, murderous Xiao Chen a kilometer away. He mocked, indeed, a country bumpkin from the Sky Dome realm. The sun of the Kunlun realm is the strongest yang-attributed flame in the 3,000 great realms. Without clouds to block the sun, an ordinary person would die after being exposed to the sun for 2 hours. Given our cultivation, even if we were exposed to the sun without caring about the exhaustion, we would still end up with fire poison. If not for that, why would this young master care about a few bugs blocking the way? The 5 Eternal Heavenly Sword School inner sect elders also had mocking expressions on their faces as they echoed the elders' words. Nangong Qiong was very experienced. Naturally, she knew that Xiao Chen was not stupid. It was impossible for him not to feel the might of the Kunlun realm's sun. There had to be a reason for him to kill the ferocious beasts blocking the way so desperately. Indeed, after observing for a long time, Nangong Qiong finally discovered the secret behind it. She could not help feeling startled. This fellow actually used the Kunlun realm's sun to temper his body. Furthermore, it seemed to be very effective. It was laughable that Mo Lingtian and the others mocked Xiao Chen as a country bumpkin, truly ignorant. With Xiao Chen leading the charge, Mo Lingtian and the others had it easy. They only needed to deal with the occasional fish that slipped through the net. 3 days later, the bones in Xiao Chen's body gave off crackling sounds. Suddenly, he felt very relaxed. It was like he had just put down a heavy burden. My rank 1 sage body has advanced to rank 2. Xiao Chen casually punched and exploded a flame sand snake that leaped out. Then, he revealed an expression of joy as he squinted at the blazing sun in the sky. Xiao Chen broke through the bottleneck of his rank 1 sage body. This was a pleasant surprise. Mo Lingtian, who was a kilometer away, did not notice the changes in Xiao Chen. As he fought with the ferocious beasts, all sorts of sounds rang out. These sounds were much more intense than the crackling of Xiao Chen's bones. Furthermore, Mo Lingtian did not care about Xiao Chen at all. He felt that Xiao Chen was only a superior grade martial monarch. No matter how strong he was, he could not be that strong. After 1 hour, Xiao Chen stopped advancing. The figures of the heavenly rock race cultivators finally appeared at the limits of his vision. Mo Lingtian met up with Xiao Chen. As he looked at the 2 heavenly rock race cultivators patrolling in front, he smiled sinisterly and said, "We have arrived. After holding it in for so long, it is time to vent." A purple crystal sword about 2 fingers wide appeared from Mo Lingtian's sleeve. He grasped the sword hilt and suddenly, a boundless lightning-attributed spiritual energy gathered under his feet. Boom! An electric light exploded under Mo Lingtian's feet. His body turned into a bolt of purple lightning and soared into the sky. He was so fast that the naked eye could not catch him. When the lightning disappeared into the horizon, Mo Lingtian's figure landed beside the 2 heavenly rock race cultivators. Electric light leaped around the purple crystal sword, and a sword light flickered. Two heads flew off with a schwat sound. The two heavenly rock race cultivators did not even have a chance to cry out before they were killed. The 5 old men quickly flew over and smiled. Young master's thunder steps are indeed superb. In an instant, you crossed 2 kilometers. Xiao Chen recalled the process of Mo Lingtian executing thunder steps in his mind. After a while, he felt like he had gained something. He felt that this movement technique had many redeeming qualities. Xiao Chen stood beside Mo Lingtian. 5 kilometers below the sand dune, the Heavenly Rock Race's army had already split into a few groups, guarding the surroundings. Xiao Chen's spiritual sense passed through the groups and reached the core, which he could not see with his eyes. Then, he saw a vast and complicated formation. 49 dazzling clumps of light leaped around the nodes of the complicated formation. The overwhelming spiritual energy formed pillars of light soaring into the sky. What a fellow! No wonder he dared to say that he would succeed. He actually gathered 49 peak spirit veins and moved all the spirit veins' origins over. For the sake of this summoning of the Grave Palace, the Heavenly Rock Race probably spent all the savings of the race on it. If they did not succeed, they would die trying. In the center of the formation was an altar filled with an ancient aura. A young man wearing golden armor stood in the middle of the altar. He exuded a sharp aura and a heroic aura. This young man glanced at the surrounding sand dunes. There were people hiding behind them with malicious intentions. His lips curled up in a sinister smile, showing that he did not care. Seeing the other party's expression, Xiao Chen felt that something was wrong. A strange thought popped up in his mind. Could the Heavenly Rock Race have purposely leaked the news this time? Mo Lingtian looked around and sized up the place. Then, he smiled faintly and said, "There are really many familiar faces here to join in the excitement. The Bone Mausoleum Halls Wangying, the Soaring Serpent Mansions Swa Guangyuan, the Blood Shadow Sects Tingpeng, the Heavenly Tiger Sects Yunfeiyang, and the Magnificent Fiend Halls Xiang Fei. There are also several fiend domain geniuses who came from afar. Unfortunately, they will return disappointed." As Mo Lingtian spoke, he seemed to be very proud of himself. Xiao Chen and Nangong Qiong directly ignored Mo Lingtian's words. They sent voice projections to each other, discussing how to find an opportunity to deal with these eternal Heavenly Sword School half-sages after they entered. As night fell, the 49 pillars of light in the formation became even brighter in the dark night. Everyone looked into the sky and saw a resplendent star that was clearly different from the others. It slowly moved across the sky, getting closer to the altar. At this moment, everyone held their breath. Their eyes blazed as they quietly waited for the star to fall. The star that belonged to the Heavenly Rock King was at its most resplendent in the dark night. At this moment, the Heavenly Rock King's star was at its most resplendent and dazzling. As it moved 5,000 kilometers in an instant, it looked incredibly slow in the eyes of the people below. A hopeful light appeared in Bai's bright eyes, revealing an incredibly determined expression. Bai Qin muttered to herself, "This is the Star Grave Palace. If I can obtain the Great Rock Spreading Wings painting, I will not have to look at elder brother Xiao Chen's back anymore." Back then, during the 5-nation youth competition, Xiao Chen defeated all the outstanding talents and was once the King Grade True Dragon. While Bai felt incredibly happy for Xiao Chen, she also felt a trace of loneliness as she looked at Xiao Chen walking in front. She had been cultivating in the Heavenly Fiend Palace for a long time, but the distance between her and Xiao Chen had widened. At that time, Bai Chen swore to herself that she would catch up to her elder brother Xiao Chen. Then, Bai would be able to fight shoulder to shoulder with him and not just look at Xiao Chen's back anymore. Chapter 758. I can definitely do it. Bai Chen clenched her fair hands tightly. She had suffered a lot in the past 2 years. She would definitely be able to make her elder brother Xiao Chen look at her in a different light. Xian Yu stretched out his hand to place it on Bai's shoulder. He revealed a smile and said, "Later, when the Grave Palace falls, Bai, just follow behind me." Bai smiled faintly and dodged Xian Yu's hand. She said, "Thank you, elder brother Xianyu. At that time, elder brother Xian, you had better protect yourself. I will not let you worry about me." Xian Yu pulled back his hand that missed. An indiscernible rage flashed on his handsome face. He smiled embarrassedly and said, "Very well. However, if you need help, just let me know immediately." The dazzling star, the heavenly rock king who had fallen long ago. However, the grave palace still allowed him to shine. Even after thousands of years, it could still attract the attention of many outstanding talents. All this was because he was a sovereign martial emperor, the king of emperors. Nangong Cheong looked around and frowned slightly. Then, she sent a voice projection to Xiao Chen, "This time, even if you and I work together, we might not be able to suppress everyone. Aside from the trash of the 6 great factions, unexpectedly, there are other people." Seeing Xiao Chen's doubts, Nangong Cheong placed her hand on Xiao Chen's shoulder. A strange energy spread out, and a scene in the distance appeared before Xiao Chen's eyes. It was as if he could touch it. "This is," Nangong Cheong smiled and said, "Heaven and Earth audiovisual art." The scene changed and fixed on a beautiful youth in white. Nangong Cheong said, "This is a genius cultivator of the Silver Moon Spirit Fox race. He is not much weaker than the 7 giants of the Tianwu domain. He is not someone that Imo Ling Tian can compare to. The girl beside him is a peak genius of the Silver Moon Spirit Fox race that rose to fame in the past year. She possesses a supreme cultivation technique of the fiend race from the immortal epic. Her appearance and talent are 1 in 10,000. She even caught the eye of the Fox King. She is known as one of the 3 great beauties of the fiend domain. Some of the spirit fiend descendants are interested in her." Xiao Chen couldn't help but smile in his heart. He didn't expect that after not seeing her for 2 years, the innocent little girl from back then already had such a reputation. The scene before Xiao Chen changed. A sloppy-looking young man with messy hair and a pair of gem-like eyes appeared in the clouds. Don't be fooled by this person's appearance. He is a genuine monstrous genius from the giant ape race. He is extremely famous in the fiend realm and is known as the Little Heavenly Monkey. Many spirit fiend descendants are inferior to him. Aside from this, Nangong Cheong had overlooked several young fiend race cultivators. They were probably not worthy of her attention, but in reality, none of these people were weaker than the direct disciples of the 6 major sections. Finally, the scene stopped on a sand dune in the distance. On the sand dune stood a young swordsman dressed in black. He had a cold expression and stood as straight as a javelin. The swordsman stood quietly on the sand dune, as if he had merged with the night. If one did not pay attention, they would not be able to discover his existence. However, once one discovered him, he would be like a powerful treasure sword, deeply imprinted in one's mind. No matter what, one would not be able to forget him. That swordsman's pitch-black eyes were like black gemstones, even darker than the night, even more lonely and desolate. "This is our greatest enemy on this trip. This person is called Yen Shursan. Aside from the people of the 7 giants, no one in the younger generation of your Tianwu domain knows him." Yen was an extremely ancient family name. At the start of the martial epoch, when the human race prospered, the Yen clan was already a sovereign noble clan. By the time the ancient era ended, the Yen clan had already existed for more than 50,000 years. Nangong Cheong continued, "He is the scion of a sovereign noble clan, the Yen clan. I really can't figure out why he is not cultivating in the profound domain but here. He mainly cultivates the sword Dao and already has 1 foot in the threshold of martial sage. The great rock spreading wings painting is not very useful to him." The flourishing heaven pavilion was spread throughout the Kunlun realm. Aside from auctions, they also dealt in intelligence. Xiao Chen did not find it strange that Nangong Cheong knew so much. Xiao Chen looked at the golden-armored youth of the heavenly rock race on the altar and asked, "Do you know the origins of that heavenly rock race cultivator wearing golden armor?" Nangong Cheong glanced at him and replied, "This person is called Mingyu, the son of the heavenly rock race's clan head. His talent and strength are not bad. Unfortunately, the heavenly rock race has too few resources. Otherwise, he would be someone on the same level as the little heavenly monkey. Based on Nangong Cheong's words, she did not care about this golden-armored youth. However, Xiaochen had a different opinion. The situation is different from what I thought. Mo Ling Tian is no longer of any value. Later, you should directly kill him. The Sage-grade secret treasure pagoda is yours. I will split 70% of his treasures with you. Originally, Nangong Cheong had intended to use Mo Ling Tian to hide her identity to prevent being surrounded. However, now that a few people with backgrounds no weaker than hers arrived, there was no longer a need to hide her identity. Xiaochen smiled and said, "Interesting. Since I am going to make a move, you still want to take 70%? Nangong Cheong raised her pretty eyebrows slightly. Then, she immediately smiled and said, "Good, it is settled, then. The Sage-grade pagoda is yours. You take 70% of the treasures, and I will split 30. I fell for it. This girl is just digging a hole for me." Without doing anything, she obtained 30% of Mo Lingtian's treasures. Interacting with this girl is really worrisome. Xiaochen, later, when the Star-Grave Palace falls, we will do the same. You will take the lead and help us carve out a path, Mo Lingtian said casually. Mo Lingtian said casually, as if he was giving orders to the world. However, he did not know that Xiaochen and Nangong Cheong had already ignored him. They were secretly discussing how to split the treasures after killing him. As the two spoke, the resplendent star outside the barrier of the sky completely overlapped with the direction of the altar. The heavenly rock race elders, who had been prepared for a long time, immediately took action, quickly forming hand seals. The complicated formation lit up with a boundless light. The 49 spirit veins' origins drained at a visible rate. When the spirit veins' origins were completely drained, a boundless suction suddenly came from the altar, locking down the Star-Grave Palace in the sky. In the next moment, the Star-Grave Palace descended at an extremely fast speed. Soon, it touched the barrier of the sky. A bright fiery light blazed in the night sky, blazing fiercely. It was a wondrous scene, magnificent and magnificent. As the fiery light spread, the Star-Grave Palace broke through the barrier of the sky, slowly appearing before everyone's eyes. Boom! 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 Countless fiery lights shot out like meteors, shooting across the vast desolate desert and exploding in a chain of horrifying sounds. At this moment, everyone held their breath as they looked at the sky. A small castle-like grave palace floated in the air, looking like it would fall at any moment. Whoosh! 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 The 1,000-odd heavenly rock race cultivators all shot up, quickly flying towards the entrances of the grave palace. The other cultivators, who had been waiting outside for a long time, all flew over as well. Several incredible people even rushed into the entrances ahead of the heavenly rock race cultivators. Lights of various colors flickered in the night sky. The scene turned chaotic. Mo Ling Tian frowned slightly. It looked like the grave palace was about to land, but Xiaochen did not move at all. He shouted angrily, "Xiaochen, didn't I tell you to open a path for us? Are you tired of living? Why are you still not moving?" As Mo Ling Tian spoke, Xiaochen moved. However, this action startled the Eternal Heavenly Sword School's half-sage elders. Myriad Heaven Divine Fist, deities descending, tenfold combat prowess. Bang! Without giving Mo Ling Tian any chance to react, Xiaochen, who was very close, directly executed deities descending and punched Mo Ling Tian's head, turning it into a shower of blood. Mo Ling Tian, who had always been arrogant and did not care about Xiaochen, died just like that from Xiaochen's punch that multiplied his combat prowess tenfold. It was direct and efficient, extremely miserable. The other 5 Eternal Heavenly Sword School half-sage elders immediately felt dizzy. Why did the white-robed bladesman, who did whatever he was told to do earlier, attack Mo Ling Tian so boldly? Furthermore, when Xiaochen attacked, he erupted with a horrifying aura and a surging golden fist wind, completely suppressing everyone present. By the time they reacted, Xiaochen had already stretched out his hand to grab the sage-grade pagoda that flew out of Mo Ling Tian's body and put it into his universe ring. You! How bold! How dare you kill the top true inheritor of our eternal heavenly sword school? The 5 eternal heavenly sword school elders pointed at Shao Chen with murderous intent. Boom! The Star-Grave Palace landed on the ground. Heaven and earth shook, and an overwhelming sound drowned out the voices of the 5 half-sages. The surging shock waves that followed, filling the air with yellow sand, knocked Shao Chen's group into the air. Although the energy contained in the shock waves was great, they were rather scattered. Although Shao Chen and the others were knocked back, they did not suffer any injuries. The 5 eternal heavenly sword school half-sage elders stabilized themselves and glared at Shao Chen. Their killing chi surged like a vast ocean. Shao Chen, to think that you are so despicable. Earlier, you killed the clan head of a subordinate clan of my eternal heavenly sword school. My clan's disciple was kind and did not make things difficult for you. To think that you repaid kindness with enmity, sneak attacking us. One of the elders exclaimed in rage. They had been relying on Imo Lingtian. In the future, when Imo Lingtian became the sect master of the eternal heavenly sword school, he would give them countless benefits. However, now that Imo Lingtian died, there would definitely be a new top true inheritor. A new emperor would recruit his own subordinates. The new top true inheritor would definitely have his own subordinates. How could there be any benefits for them? You must die. Even if you have the Haotian sect backing you, we will kill you today. Shao Chen silently circulated the myriad heaven divine fist and laughed loudly. Then, he shouted coldly, "What is the point of saying so much? You are all very clear on what you are planning. You want to kill me, but I do not intend to let you leave alive. Do you really think that you can do whatever you want to me?" The 5 were only slightly stronger than Situ Lei and much weaker than Wu Yuankai. Now that Shao Chen had learned a superior grade heaven-ranked martial technique, why would he care about them? Sagely songs, singing a distant legend. A grand and majestic song rang out. Shao Chen flew forward without hesitation. With every step he took, a golden light shone down. Sagely songs surrounded him, and a holy aura spread out. This is the aura of the deity race's superior grade heaven-ranked martial technique. How does he know it? The 5 half-sage elders exchanged looks, unable to hide the shock in their eyes. Chapter 759. Boom! A golden fist wind surged out. Shao Chen's vital qi, mental energy, and quintessence gathered to form a strong golden energy, forming a vast radiance that spread out in an instant. The 5 attacked at the same time. They all executed their martial techniques but still could not block. That radiance shattered their quintessence martial techniques. The 5 eternal heavenly sword school half-sages vomited a mouthful of blood and took 100 steps back. Their eyes were filled with horror. Let's go. This brat is too demonic. We are not a match for him. Let's go back and report this to the sect master and get him to invite the Supreme Elder out. The 5 eternal heavenly sword school half-sages actually wanted to retreat from Shao Chen's punch. You think you can leave? Radiance of deities. Shao Chen smiled coldly. The deities of the Paramitha heavenly nation focused their gazes on him. His body immediately shone with an indescribably dazzling light. He looked like a deity walking in the world. The golden light on Shao Chen's fist was as dazzling as the sun. When he punched, a majestic golden pillar of light immediately shot out. Everywhere it passed, the dust scattered and the air burned. The pillar of light struck the 5 flying half-sage elders. It was like they were struck by lightning. They vomited a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. Shao Chen withdrew his fist and stood upright. The golden light on his body slowly faded away. However, the golden radiance in the air lingered for a long time, looking immortal. His figure flashed as he rode on the blue dragon. Then, Shao Chen attacked the 5 half-sages, killing them expressionlessly. When Nangong Qiong, who was behind, saw this scene, she was flabbergasted. Earlier, when Shao Chen killed Imo Lingtian in one move, he had relied on a surprise attack. But this time, he'd actually killed 5 half-saints. Although these 5 were not worth mentioning among half-sages, much weaker than Wu Yuankai and those demonic geniuses, they were still 5 half-sages. However, these were still 5 half-sages, after all. Xiao Chen had casually killed them. This was somewhat shocking. Even with the myriad heaven divine fist, he should not be this strong. After all, he was only a superior grade martial monarch. There was only one explanation, and that was that his psychic energy far surpassed that of ordinary people. It was comparable to the geniuses of the god race. His spiritual force was comparable to the geniuses of the god race, and he also possessed a vast amount of true essence that far surpassed the god race. With the 3 combined, the myriad heaven divine fist seemed to be tailor-made for him. Compared to the geniuses of the deity race, he could bring out even more power. Nangong Cheong thought for a while and immediately figured out what was going on. The strength of the Xiao Chen before her was probably no weaker than any of the 7 giants of the Tianwu domain. The myriad heaven divine fist displayed its might once again. Xiao Chen entered deep thought. As the purple thunder divine incantation tempered mental energy, his mental energy had always been far superior to that of ordinary people. But most of the time, mental energy could only be used as divine sense for detection. It was like a pearl covered in dust, completely wasted. After obtaining the myriad heaven divine fist, this pearl shone brilliantly, revealing its extraordinary might. In the future, when the purple thunder divine incantation advanced to the 7th layer, Xiao Chen's mental energy would continue to increase. At that time, he might be able to learn the deeper mysteries of the myriad heaven divine fist in advance. Xiao Chen took out the spatial rings of the 5 half-sages and scanned them with his spiritual sense. First, he counted the astral coins in them. There was a total of 300,000 astral coins. It looked like, as elders of the Eternal Heavenly Sword School, these 5 were not particularly rich. Xiao Chen had obtained more than 200,000 astral coins from Wu Yuankai alone. Furthermore, that was not including the valuable pair of dark gold gloves. Ding! Nangong Cheong tossed out a spatial ring and said with a smile, "This is Mo Lingtian's spatial ring. I already took 30% of it. The remaining 70% is yours." Xiao Chen casually caught the spatial ring and scanned it with his spiritual sense. He discovered 300,000 astral coins, all sorts of medicinal pills, and a secret manual for the Thunder Steps. He wondered if that lass kept her promise and only took 30% of the profits. However, even if she did not keep her promise, Xiao Chen could not fall out with this girl immediately. Firstly, he did not know her limits. Secondly, this girl clearly understood the Star-Grave Palace a lot. After he entered, he would definitely need to rely on her. However, no matter what, Xiao Chen now had more than 1,000,000 astral coins. His wealth had definitely soared, far surpassing that of an ordinary person. Looking around, there was not a single person to be seen in the previously bustling place. Without exception, everyone had surged into the massive Star Tomb Palace. Nangong Cheong, did you notice that the many heavenly rock race cultivators all flew in before the Star-Grave Palace fell? However, there was one person who did not move. Xiao Chen asked calmly as he looked at the Star-Grave Palace. Surprised, Nangong Cheong asked, "Who?" When the Star-Grave Palace fell, if one stood below, one would definitely be crushed to death. The heavenly rock race's young clan head, Mingyu. Did you see wrong? Absolutely not. I saw him standing on the altar with my own eyes. He did not fly up with the other heavenly rock race cultivators. When Nangong Cheong heard this, her expression changed. She said, "The situation is not good. I probably underestimated this person earlier. We have to go in quickly." Xiao Chen waved his hand and said, "Wait for a while. Let me refine that sage-grade pagoda first before we enter." With a flip of his hand, an exquisite pagoda flew out of the universe ring. After the pagoda flew out, it immediately soared into the sky, trying to leave. The sage-grade pagoda already had a trace of spirituality. It instinctively did not want to be refined by others. How could Xiao Chen let it go? His strong mental energy locked the pagoda in place. Then, he sent his spiritual sense into the core of the pagoda and erased Imo Lingtian's spiritual mark, replacing it with his own. After nourishing it for a while, Xiao Chen's spiritual mark completely occupied the pagoda, wiping out the aura that Imo Lingtian left behind. With a thought, the pagoda turned into a beam of light and returned to Xiao Chen's chest. Then, it merged with his flesh and blood, becoming one. This was the ability of a sage-grade secret treasure. Nangong Qiong could not help feeling somewhat jealous. This fellow's mental energy is really heaven-defying. I wonder what kind of fortuitous encounter he had. If it were an ordinary person, it would be difficult to refine this sage-grade secret treasure without 3 to 5 days. However, Xiao Chen did it as easily as if he was eating or drinking. Come, let's enter the grave palace. After refining this pagoda, Xiao Chen's confidence in his strength increased. Then, he took the lead and flew towards the entrance of a grave palace. A dark passageway appeared before the two. Cold qi came from the walls on both sides of the passageway, causing them to shiver involuntarily. Xiao Chen quickly circulated his quintessence and forced out the cold qi. How cold! Why does it feel like I fell into an ice cave? Nangong Qiong carefully looked around and said casually, the Heavenly Rock King used a heavenly ice star to forge this grave palace. The temperature of the heavenly ice star is comparable to ice marrow. Be careful, don't let the cold qi invade your body. Otherwise, it will turn into a cold poison. After walking for a while, Nangong Qiong stretched out her hand and pressed a spot on the wall. The wall opened, and a grave room appeared before the two. Unfortunately, aside from simple decorations, there was nothing else in there. The auras of any treasures did not leak out. The two continued forward. Along the way, Nangong Qiong opened up many hidden grave rooms. However, she did not gain anything from them. Occasionally, she found pleasant surprises, but they were just small items. After walking for a while, the number of people in front increased. Nangong Qiong did not hold back, so she opened up the hidden grave rooms in front of all the cultivators. This caused everyone to feel astonished, and they all followed suit. Ka Xie. Another secret room opened, and a beam of light shone out from inside. A vast emperor's might spread out together with the light, startling the many cultivators following behind. It's a fragment of the Great Rock Spreading Wings painting. Someone immediately recognized this item and cried out in pleasant surprise. The crowd immediately erupted into an uproar. All of you, scram! This painting fragment belongs to me, Yun Feiyang. No one is allowed to snatch it. Bang! 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 The people behind were knocked into the air. A group of half-sages wearing the uniform of the Heavenly Tiger sect charged over arrogantly and despotically. The Heavenly Tiger sect was a sect established by a group of cultivators who left the Fiend Domain's Heavenly Tiger race. After 1,000 years of development, they had gained a firm foothold in Hunluo province. The Heavenly Tiger sect was an absolute hegemon in the vicinity of Hunluo province, no weaker than the Eternal Heavenly Sword School. Their arrogance and despotic behavior made perfect sense. The human and fiend race cultivators who came here were all outstanding talents, barely qualified to be called geniuses. At the very least, they were peak superior grade martial monarchs. Many of them were even half-sages. However, before the Heavenly Tiger sect's group, they did not dare to be too unbridled. They all opened up a path and glared at Yun Feiyang, who was the leader, in extreme displeasure. When the Soaring Serpent Mansion's people arrive, let's see if you still dare to be arrogant. Several of the people who were knocked into the air by the Heavenly Tiger sect said hatefully, showing dissatisfaction in their eyes. The Soaring Serpent Mansion's people had also taken this entrance. If nothing unexpected happened, they would feel the energy fluctuations of the Great Rock Spreading Wings painting piece and would rush over soon. At that time, there would be a fierce battle. These people might be able to fish in troubled waters and obtain fortuitous encounters. Although the Heavenly Tiger sect's people were strong, the others only hid at the side. No one intended to leave. Yun Feiyang was tall and stout. He wore a fur coat, and his facial features were broad. With one glance, he looked very imposing. As he walked, he exuded a mighty aura. "Come over here." Yun Feiyang spread his fingers, and a suction force formed by fiend energy passed over Xiao Chen and Nangong Qiong, heading for the secret room. Yun Feiyang was very arrogant. He did not care about anything, wanting to snatch away the great rock spreading wings painting piece in front of the two. Nangong Qiong placed her right hand on Xiao Chen's shoulder and stopped him. She said, "Don't be in such a rush. He will not snatch away the painting piece that easily. Let's use him to exhaust the energy in the painting piece first." The dazzling great rock spreading wings painting piece radiating emperors might quickly flew towards Yun Feiyang. The smile on Yun Feiyang's face widened. Bang! Just as Yun Feiyang was about to grab the painting piece, something strange happened. A vast, surging energy burst out from the painting piece. Boom! It knocked the others back. "Young master, are you all right?" The Heavenly Tiger Sect's half-sage elders showed shocked expressions as they quickly rushed over. Yun Feiyang waved his hand and said sullenly, "I'm fine. It looks like the energy contained in this painting piece cannot be underestimated. I was a little careless. I'll just have to try again." "Yun Feiyang, you want to snatch the painting piece with that little ability of yours? Even if I gave you a chance, you would not be able to grab it." At the top of the tomb, a figure quickly dashed out and grabbed at the map fragment. However, just as the figure was about to touch the map fragment, a figure suddenly appeared. However, just as that figure was about to touch the painting piece, that force knocked him back. Chapter 760. The Soaring Serpent Mansion Swa Guangyuan is here. The eyes of the surrounding cultivators immediately lit up. Now that Swa Guangyuan was here, it would not be so easy for Yun Feiyang to obtain the painting piece. With the two tigers fighting, their chance had finally arrived. Bang! 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 The group of half-sage elders from the Soaring Serpent Mansion pushed through the crowd and rushed over to support Swa Guangyuan. When Yun Feiyang saw Swa Guangyuan falling down in a sorry state, he mocked, "Brother Swa, you are very capable. You nearly managed to grab the painting piece." Yun Feiyang emphasized the word "nearly," making Swa Guangyuan's expression turn unsightly. "Unfortunately, it was nearly. This painting piece was prepared for me, Yun Feiyang." A venomous, sinister look flashed in Swa Guangyuan's eyes. He said in a cold voice, "You are too delusional. Hu Qi." Just at this moment, the emperor painting fragment floating in the air was suddenly pulled over by a huge suction force. The emperor's might contained in the painting piece was mostly nullified by that suction. Then, the painting piece appeared before the person who made a move. Xiao Chen's expression turned grave and stern. He circulated all his quintessence, vital qi, and mental energy, as well as the sovereign's qi in his bloodline at the same time. Xiao Chen's aura soared. His black hair fluttered everywhere, and his white robes fluttered. Suddenly, he attracted everyone's attention. He stretched his hand forward and grabbed the dazzling emperor map fragment. With a buzz, he caught it in his hand. Boom! Surging energy surged out of Xiao Chen's palm, forming a strong wind that swept through the surroundings. The wind howled, sounding like a vast army galloping. The surroundings of the grave passage trembled violently. Several people could not stand stably and nearly fell. Everyone looked at Xiao Chen incredulously. Where exactly did this person come from? Not only did he know all the hidden rooms of the grave palace, but he also knew about them. Not only did he know the various hidden rooms of the grave palace, but he also held the painting piece firmly in his hand, something that Yun Feiyang and Swa Guangyuan could not easily suppress. Xiao Chen withdrew the painting piece with a flip of his palm and placed it in his universe ring. "You are seeking death. How dare you snatch what belongs to me, Yun Feiyang? Reckless fool." Swa Guangyuan and Yun Feiyang could not hold themselves back anymore. How could they let someone else obtain the treasure that they wanted? Then, they leaped up and charged at Xiao Chen together, radiating killing qi. Such a scene immediately shocked everyone. They thought that the two of them would fight fiercely, but they actually joined hands to attack the same person. However, what astonished them even more was to come. Suddenly, a majestic and resonant holy song rang out from the palace grave. Xiao Chen, who was surrounded by the holy song, stepped forward and punched. The golden light poured out like a heavy weight. Yun Feiyang and Zhuo Guangyuan, who were surging with murderous qi, both grunted as Xiao Chen knocked them back with one punch. How is this possible? The top true inheritors of the Heavenly Tiger sect and the Soaring Serpent Mansion were actually sent flying with a single punch. The cultivators waiting at the side to take advantage of the situation were all startled. The expressions of the half-sage elders of the two sects changed drastically. They stopped hesitating and attacked. In that instant, strong winds blew in the air. 10 odd figures burst out with martial techniques of all sorts, charging at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen's expression remained calm. If it were in the past, he would not have dared to be careless when facing 10 odd half-sages who were as strong as Gumu. However, now that his physical body had reached rank 2 sage body, he had consumed the dragon marrow to form an internal defense, and he had refined the sage-grade defensive pagoda. No matter how many clowns there was no need to fear them. An image of a pagoda encased Xiao Chen. With a thought, his mental energy and veritable essence energy poured into the pagoda like a river. The illusory pagoda immediately materialized at a visible pace. Eventually, it looked like a supreme pagoda standing there, unafraid of wind and rain, unafraid of mountains and rivers. Dang! 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 The attacks of 10 odd half-sages struck the pagoda, producing loud bangs that resounded endlessly. Waves of qi spread out, forming a terrifying gust of wind that swept through the tomb. When the strong wind scattered and the shock waves vanished, the 10 odd half-sages were shocked to discover that Xiao Chen was unharmed in the pagoda, looking at them expressionlessly. Get the hell down here! A light flashed, and the sage-grade pagoda returned to Xiao Chen's body, merging with his flesh and blood. Xiao Chen shouted ferociously and soared into the air, bringing out the radiance of a deity. Xiao Chen's fist shone with a light like that of a small sun, forming an unparalleled, majestic pillar of light that shot out. The 10 odd half-sage elders in the air all vomited a mouthful of blood. They cried out miserably as they fell from the sky. When Yun Feiyang and Zhuo Guangyuan, who were on the ground, saw this scene, horror filled their eyes. They both muttered to themselves and wanted to reveal their true forms at the same time. If a fiend race cultivator revealed their true form, their strength would increase by at least 50%, making them very difficult to deal with. Xiao Chen smiled coldly. How could he give them such an opportunity? Ka Xie. Ka Xie. Golden chains appeared behind him. Divine scripts circulated around them, releasing a mighty pressure. Xiao Chen punched the air, and the chains danced around like berserk dragons. Whoosh! The chains wrapped around the two. The divine scripts on the chains contained a strangely strong sealing power, suppressing the surging auras in the two's bodies. The two's complexions flushed, and their eyes glared with rage. No matter how they struggled, they could not move at all. Their strength slowly decreased, and after a while, they were like ordinary people. When Xiao Chen landed, he casually waved his hand, and a cool breeze formed by quintessence gently blew the two off the ground, sending them crashing into a wall. With the strength of one person, Xiao Chen easily defeated the top true inheritors of two great sects and a group of half-sage elders. Xiao Chen swept his gaze around, and the cultivators who remained there were all frightened out of their wits. They immediately scattered, fleeing frantically. Congratulations, young Master Xiao. You displayed your might and obtained a painting piece. After the battle ended, Nangong Qiong appeared from somewhere. She had a faint smile on her face as she spoke. Xiao Chen was already numb to Nangong Qiong's attitude. There was no need to rely on her to help at any time. Just treat her as heir. Right, as long as she is heir, I will not get angry if I can't see her. Xiao Chen glanced at Yun Feiyang and Xiao Chen, who had failed to reveal their true forms and were sealed by the divine chains, and walked over. The two were severely injured. They found it difficult to even stand up for now. The divine chains sealed their strength. If the seal did not last for long, they would be no different from ordinary people. Shao Chen ignored the two's curses and their childish threats. He directly took the two's spatial rings and took all the astral coins and peak superior grade secret treasures. After that, they continued forward. With Nangong Qiong leading the way, Shao Chen only needed to follow behind her, saving him a lot of trouble. Advancing stealthily, Zhang Xian passed through several corridors. Regardless of whether it was a hidden chamber or a room that existed publicly, most of them were empty. Unexpectedly, aside from the painting pieces, there was nothing in the grave palace of the Heavenly Rock King. This was simply inexcusable. Something's wrong. Why are there no treasures in the secret rooms? Nangong Qiong asked after walking for a long time. She frowned slightly and stopped. Nangong Qiong had two goals in coming here. One was to enter the core hall and take away the core painting piece of the Great Rock Spreading Wings painting. The second was to find the treasures hidden in the various secret rooms. As a sovereign martial emperor, the Heavenly Rock King's former residence would definitely have many precious treasures. If she could obtain them all, the accumulated value would be much higher than the core painting piece. When Shao Chen saw Nangong Qiong stop, he asked, "What's wrong?" "Someone probably got ahead of us. The Heavenly Rock Race's people probably do not care about the painting pieces. Their goal is to obtain the treasures left behind by the Heavenly Rock King. They used the painting pieces to attract the attention of others and obtained the treasures in the Grave Palace. Then, they stayed out of the matter. This is indeed a brilliant plan." Nangong Qiong spoke of her guesses. Right now, the Heavenly Rock Race had already declined to the point of extinction. They did not even have a martial sage. Although the Heavenly Rock Race had many people, in reality, it was hard to say who would win if they fought with the people who came. "Let's go. Let's not waste time here. Let's go directly to the Grave Palace's Eternal Rest Hall. Hopefully, nothing unexpected has happened to the core painting piece." Many hidden doors opened on the top floor of the vast Grave Palace. The figures of the Heavenly Rock Race cultivators leaped out of them. Then, they quickly landed on the ground, distancing themselves from the Grave Palace. As the figures came over and presented the treasures they obtained in the Grave Palace, the three old men leading the group revealed increasingly joyful expressions. "There are more than 10,000 superior grade spirit gathering pearls, 50 million astral coins, more than 100 sage grade secret treasures, close to 5,000 superior grade secret treasures, and more than 10,000 spirit weapons and treasure armor. There are more than 3,000 bottles of grade 8 medicinal pills and more than 100 bottles of sage medicinal pills. Patriarch, with these resources, it won't be long before our Sky Rock Race rises again." The Sky Rock Race's patriarch, Ming Fan, smiled and said, "It's worth it. We used 49 low-grade rank 1 spirit veins in exchange for so many resources. It's enough for our Sky Rock Race to use for 500 years. The gray-robed elder on the right said, "Now it all depends on young Master Mingyu. If he can successfully obtain the core map fragment, then this mission will come to a perfect conclusion. Junior tribe leader, that's too risky. There are quite a few demon-level geniuses that came this time. Even us old bones are afraid of them," said the old man on the left worriedly. Ming Fan sighed and said in a low voice, "This is his own choice. Right now, Kunlun is in the golden age of 10,000 years. He is very proud and does not want to be buried as a spectator. He can only take a gamble." The elder on the right said, "Patriarch, Old Lu and the others have yet to come out after collecting the Heavenly Ice Sword. Could they have met with some trouble?" Ming Fan muttered, "Never mind. The Heavenly Ice Sword is not hidden at all. I do not have much hope. Let's go. We should quit while we're ahead. If others discover us, we will be in big trouble." Ming Fan was very cautious. He carefully put away the resources that he had and quickly led the Heavenly Rock Race cultivators away from this place. Inside the Grave Palace, Shao Chen and Nangong Qiong did not take any detours and headed straight ahead. 1 hour later, horrifying miserable cries came from the corner of the grave entrance. The heavy stench of blood in the enclosed space was unbearable. Chapter 761. Xiao Chen frowned and turned his head to take a look. A large number of cultivators gathered at the exit of the passageway, fighting a spider-like ferocious beast with an extremely strange aura. This ferocious beast was described as strange because although Xiao Chen could feel the horrifying aura coming from it, he could not sense any life force at all. Interesting. It is actually a demonic puppet refined from an astral venom spider. I want this demonic puppet. When Nangong Qiong saw this ferocious beast, her bright eyes immediately revealed a trace of joy. She casually waved her hand, and an elegant wooden umbrella appeared in her hand. The plain-looking umbrella gave off an ancient aura. Xiao Chen looked carefully and discovered several hundred-arm-thick heavenly sage laws around the umbrella. A high-quality sage-grade secret treasure. Xiao Chen's pupils constricted, and intense shock flashed in his eyes. This girl was really mysterious. She could casually take out a high-quality sage-grade secret treasure. Xiao Chen, be careful. Don't get betrayed by this girl. If I guessed correctly, she is definitely from a sovereign noble clan. Her name might be a fake, Ao Jiao warned from the immortal spirit ring. Xiao Chen nodded and said calmly, don't worry. I have not used the Taiji Yin-Yang flame diagram or the strength character formula. After all, she is not a martial sage. I still have some trump cards against her. Nangong Qiong left very quickly and returned very quickly as well. In less than 15 minutes, she returned to Xiao Chen's side. An exquisite astral venom spider appeared in her palm like a doll. After she put it away, she smiled and said, let's go. There seems to be a treasure in front that the heavenly rock race's people did not take away. No wonder this group of people is so stubborn despite the obstruction of the astral venom spider. Hearing that there was a treasure, Xiao Chen took the lead. After passing through the entrance, the scene before him suddenly widened. A vast palace with grand decorations appeared before Xiao Chen. The cultivators that came from the various entrances all gathered here. Aside from the true inheritors of the 6 factions, the fiend race geniuses that Nangong Qiong paid special attention to, the little heavenly monkey Feng and the silver moon spirit fox Xianyu, were also here. However, it was very quiet at this moment. Heroes from all over had gathered together, but no one made a sound. The atmosphere was so quiet that it was a little strange. In the center of the palace, there was a towering stone platform. On top of the stone platform, there was a pitch-black sword that exuded a chilling aura and a restrained brilliance. It was obvious that it was not an ordinary sword. Heavenly Ice Sword. Nangong Qiong exclaimed softly. Then, she came to a sudden realization and said, so that's how it is. No wonder Yan Shisan would travel such a great distance to come here. I knew it. He mainly cultivates the massacre sword Dao. How could the map fragment be so attractive to him? The Heavenly Ice Sword was forged by the Heavenly Rock King using the source of the Heavenly Ice Star. Unfortunately, after it was forged, it lacked a bit of spirituality. Heavenly Rock King was greatly disappointed. He had always shelved it, never using it. The Heavenly Rock King did not think much of this sword, but in the eyes of others, it was a peerless treasure. As long as it could nurture an artifact spirit, it would become a high-grade subdivine weapon. A fragment of a subdivine weapon of the Thunder King was able to attract the attention of a martial sage of Hunluo City. Now, as long as it was nurtured properly, it could definitely become a subdivine weapon. Naturally, it went without saying how attractive it was. Everyone wanted to obtain the Heavenly Ice Sword. However, no one dared to act rashly. The normally arrogant geniuses all became cautious. Everyone knew that the bird that poked its head out would be shot. If they acted rashly now, they would definitely offend everyone and become the target of everyone's attacks. Everyone was waiting for a chaotic situation so that they could make their move amidst the chaos. Hu Qi. Amid this strange and quiet atmosphere, a black figure gently drifted over. This person did not care about the murderous gazes of the others as he casually stood on the stone platform. This was a slender, young swordsman in black with a stern expression. This was the person that Nangong Cheong feared the most, Yen Shirsan. While the many geniuses did not dare to provoke the crowd and waited quietly, the black-clad swordsman calmly stood on the stone platform. Not bad. This is a good sword. I want it. The many geniuses stared at the black-clad swordsman with murderous intent. However, Yen Shirsan ignored them. He stretched out his hand to grab the pitch-black sword hilt. Where did this nameless brat come from? How dare he speak nonsense here? The heavenly ice sword is the treasure of our heavenly rock race. No one is allowed to snatch it. Yen Shirsan was not very famous here. Or rather, he was too famous. Without reaching a certain level, one would not know of his origins. Seeing that Yen Shirsan was going to grab the heavenly ice sword, the three half-sage old men of the heavenly rock race immediately became enraged and quickly revealed their true forms. The bones on their backs wiggled, and a pair of heavenly rock wings unfurled. The wings flapped ferociously, kicking up a strong wind. The three old men charged at Yen Shirsan like a bolt of lightning with a towering flame burning in their eyes. Yen Shirsan's eyebrows twitched. He had not expected these three heavenly rock race old men to be dissatisfied with him taking the heavenly ice sword. Since you do not practice the sword, what is the point of having a sword? The greedy usually die the fastest. Yen Shirsan did not move at all. He glanced around and moved his fingers slightly. The buzzing of countless swords came from the air, linking together as if there were countless swords hidden in the air. A strong and pure sword intent flowed everywhere in the air, forming a torrent of formless blades. The entire hall started trembling continuously. The swords in the hands of several cultivators were about to fly out uncontrollably, causing these cultivators to panic. This is a peak great perfection sword intent. Someone exclaimed in disbelief, revealing a horrified expression. A peak great perfection sword intent was already infinitely close to perfection, able to condense a sword's soul at any time. This was something that several martial sages, who had lived for 100 years, could not do. Unexpectedly, this youth did it. Suddenly, Yen Shirsan stopped moving his fingers, and the hidden swords in the air all stopped buzzing. The torrent of swords flowing everywhere also stopped moving at this moment. Everything fell silent, not a single sound could be heard. The huge difference seemed to cause others to have the misconception that the powerful and vast sword intent at the advanced stage earlier was not real. Just as these doubts appeared in everyone's mind, Yen Shirsan made his move and gently waved his hand. Boom! Countless crisp sounds connected together, forming a rumbling sound that resembled a tidal wave. The countless swords hidden in the void all stabbed out at the same time. They gathered together and formed a berserk dragon made of swords. The body of the berserk dragon hummed with thousands of swords, and a boundless state of massacre spread out from it. Bang! The massacre berserk dragon howled as it flew by. The various martial techniques executed by the three heavenly rock race cultivators, who had revealed their true forms, vanished like smoke. Sword lights shot out, and a scarlet light spread everywhere. Before the three old men could scream, they were sliced into countless spurts of blood. The blood infused into the berserk dragon. A faint layer of blood mist dyed the berserk dragon made of sword lights, making it look like a blood dragon with overwhelming killing chi. Yen Shirsan casually waved his hand and killed three half-sages. The entire hall fell silent, dumbfounded. What exactly is this fellow's background? The Yen clan was a hidden sovereign noble clan. Ordinary people would not know of such a clan. When facing the horrifying Yen Shirsan, everyone thought hard but could not figure out where such an expert came from. Acting all mysterious. I, Wang Ying, will test you out. A sinister wind blew and carried a figure towards Yen Shirsan. It was Tengpeng, the top true inheritor of the Blood Shadow sect, one of the 6 great sects of Hunluo province. When Yen Shirsan saw Tengpeng in the sinister wind, he raised his eyebrows slightly and said, "Interesting. There is finally someone using the sword, even though he does not cultivate the righteous Tao." Yan Shisan grasped his sword hilt with his right hand, not drawing his sword. He pointed forward, and a dense black sword chi immediately shot out from the scabbard, moving as fast as a meteor. The sword chi contained the massacre sword Dao that could destroy everything. Everywhere it passed, even the air seemed to lose its life force and wither. Ka Xie. The sword chi easily tore through the sinister wind, piercing through Ting Peng's protective quintessence and the superior-grade inner vest he wore before piercing through his body. The black sword chi spread out with a surging state of massacre. No matter how Ting Peng blocked, he could not suppress the aura of massacre that could destroy everything. Ting Peng's complexion was as pale as paper. The sinister wind around him scattered, and he appeared fatigued and lifeless. Unexpectedly, not only did this sword strike injure his physical body, but the sword chi containing the massacre Dao even injured his life force. Young Master. The Blood Shadow Sect's half-sage, Old Zhao, showed a startled expression as he quickly flew over and caught Ting Peng. Attack together. The few half-sage elders all showed furious expressions as they charged at Yan Shisan. The Bone Mausoleum Hall's Wang Ying and the Magnificent Fiend Hall's Xiang Fei hesitated for a moment before leading their half-sage elders over as well. If they did not attack now and were defeated by Yan Shisan, they would no longer have a chance to obtain the Heavenly Ice Sword. Yan Shisan smiled faintly as he looked at the 20-odd half-sages flying over, not showing any fear. He did not even draw his black sword, just casually brandishing it. Buzz! 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 Yan Shisan's veritable essence energy surged, and the scabbard danced. Under his guidance, berserk dragons made of the massacre Dao surged in all directions. The swords buzzed endlessly in the hall, sounding like a flowing waterfall. A strong wind howled and shook the surroundings. The various half-sages could not even block the berserk sword dragons, much less approach Yan Shisan. He fought against so many half-step saints all by himself, and he didn't even have to draw his sword. Xiao Chen appeared slightly stunned. This fellow is really strong. Of the 7 giants, only in Juanxi can compete with him. If Xiao Chen can put some distance between them, his first senior sister might have a chance of victory. As for the other giants, if they did not have any fortuitous encounters in the past few months, none of them would be a match for him. No wonder that Nangong Qiong treated him as her greatest opponent. Xiao Chen thought, fortunately, I practiced the saber and not the sword. There is no need to fight with this person. Otherwise, I would have to expose all my trump cards. No swordsman could resist the temptation of the Heavenly Ice Sword. If Xiao Chen practiced the sword, no matter how strong Yan Shisan was, he would fight for it. Even if he could not defeat Yan Shisan, he would do his best. Otherwise, it would be hard to avoid regret. A powerful treasure sword was not something one could come across at any time. Chapter 762. As the half-sages fell one by one, the berserk sword dragons slowly vanished, and the hall regained its calm. The eyes of the injured half-sages on the ground and Yan Shisan, who stood with his hands behind his back on the sovereign's stone platform, flashed with unconcealable horror. Bai, you use the sword. I'll help you snatch this Heavenly Ice Sword. Xian Yu could tell that Bai was tempted, so he smiled gently and said gently. If Xiao Chen could help her obtain the Heavenly Ice Sword now, he would definitely be able to capture her heart in one go. When Xian Yu's second uncle heard this, his expression changed drastically. Bai could not help but frown deeply. When he saw that Xian Yu was about to make a move, he said anxiously, "There's no need. I'll go and get it myself." Seeing Bai fly out first, Jiang Zimo and Mu Xingya quickly followed. Xian Yu's expression changed slightly. He had not expected that Bai would personally make a move for the sake of not appreciating his kindness. Xian Yu snorted coldly and was about to get up. Don't be rash. This person is Yan Shisan, the demonic genius of a sovereign noble clan. You are not a match for him." Xian Yu's second uncle quickly made a move to stop him. Then, he told him about the horrors of a sovereign noble clan. After Xian Yu heard the other party's explanation, his expression changed, and he slowly stopped himself from making a move. The massacre sword Dao. If my life's origin is injured, my future will be ruined. Xiao Chen, who was originally planning to watch the show, suddenly saw a familiar figure fly out from the crowd. He was stunned and smiled bitterly helplessly. Back then, I really should not have let her walk the sword Dao. Xiao Chen pushed off the ground and wrote a blue dragon image. Then, he soared into the sky, intending to block by. Yan Shisan's massacre sword Dao was clearly different from the state of massacre of regular cultivators. It was an extremely pure Dao of massacre. Using massacre as a sword, it could destroy everything, destroying all life force. If one's origin was accidentally injured, it would not be something that could be healed in a few days. A dragon roar resounded in all directions. Riding the dragon, Xiao Chen leaped up and instantly arrived before Bai, Jiang Zimo, and Mu Xinya. Yan Shisan stood with his hands behind his back on the 100-meter-tall stone platform in front. He did not do anything, but the berserk dragons formed by the three massacring swords circled around him. As soon as he saw someone coming over, he immediately shouted and rushed over. Kill, 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 kill. Xiao Chen faced the berserk dragon formed by the three massacring swords head-on. He personally experienced the state of massacre contained in the swords. The tens of thousands of swords clashed in front of him. Every single sword was ferocious, like a ferocious beast bearing its fangs. They roared madly, and their voices converged together. They condensed into tens of thousands of kill characters, rising and falling like the tide, pouring into Xiao Chen's mind, throwing his mind into chaos and giving rise to a chill. Xiao Chen finally understood. When those half-sages faced the berserk dragons formed by the swords, they found it very difficult to deal with them. In the end, they all lost. It was not that they were too weak. Rather, it was that this Yan Shisan was too strong. The momentum of the massacre sword Dao was too strong. It could kill everything in the world, destroying all life force. As long as one's mental state and mental energy were not as strong as Yan Shisan's, they would be like pigs before him, swallowed up by the cold and emotionless massacre sword Dao. No matter how strong one's quintessence was, how many martial techniques, or how many secret treasures one had, if one could not bring out even 70% of one's strength, defeat would be a matter of seconds. Xiao Chen roared, and the mental energy in his sea of consciousness surged like a river. As the waves surged, they chased the kill characters out of his mind. Xiao Chen recovered his mental state, and his eyes lit up. A sagely song rang out, echoing in the hall. The sagely song recounted a distant legend. Every time it resounded, history spun, and the ancient epic became even more profound. Essence, Qi, and Spirit, these three energies merged at the same time. The strength that he grasped also increased rapidly as he watched the three berserk sword dragons fly over. As he looked at the three berserk sword dragons, Xiao Chen took a step forward, not retreating. Instead, he charged forward and punched. Myriad Heaven Divine Fist, Distant Legend. A bright, resplendent, and dazzling light condensed into something solid, looking like ink as it shot out. The light clashed with the berserk killing dragons formed by thousands of swords. Heavy sounds reverberated in the hall. Every strand of light and the killing swords fought to the death, like two armies of 10,000 fighting an intense battle on the battlefield. War songs rang out, and a scarlet light spread out like mist. The intense battle gave off horrifying auras that flew everywhere, giving off loud explosions on the ground. The entire hall started trembling intensely. It was like a flash flood or a snowy mountain collapsing. At this critical moment, if one did not flee for their lives, they would suffer a calamity. This was the Heavenly Rock King's Star Grave Palace. Naturally, there would not be a flash flood or a snowy mountain. It was just an atmosphere created by the fight between the two. Several people showed grave expressions as they looked at the two in the air. Horror flickered in their eyes. What kind of demonic genius was this? A fight under martial sage could create such a horrifying atmosphere, deterring people from watching. When everything cleared up and the wind blew over, everyone looked into the distance. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chen blocked Yan Shisan's horrifying berserk sword dragons. The massacring berserk sword dragons that terrified the many half-sages and caused them to lose in seconds were blasted into nothingness for the first time. In a head-on clash, they were evenly matched. It's him, the white-robed bladesman Xiao Chen. Amid the chaos, several people recognized Xiao Chen's appearance. Back then, when he shouted a command in Hunluo City, he forced the evil man Wu Yuankai to retreat. Xiao Chen's name spread throughout Hunluo City. Most of the cultivators here were from Hunluo province. After thinking for a while, they recalled Xiao Chen's identity and origins. When they saw that Xiao Chen was actually able to go against Yan Shisan, they couldn't help but be shocked, and they concentrated their attention and watched. Bai's pure and charming face was filled with joy. Tears welled up at the corners of her eyes, and she could not help wanting to rush forward and hug Xiao Chen. "Don't move. Stand behind me. I'll teach you a lesson later. Do you know how dangerous it was earlier?" A familiar voice rang out. Bai showed a bitter expression, feeling somewhat wronged. However, she still obediently took 100 steps back with Mu Xinya and Jiang Zimo. When Xian Yu, who was in the crowd, saw this scene, he had interacted with Bai for a long time. However, he had never seen Bai so obedient before. Jealousy blazed in his heart. "I'll let you show off. After Yan Shisan severely injures you, I'll humiliate you ruthlessly," Xian Yu thought to himself as he glanced at Xiao Chen. The black-robed Yan Shisan stood on the stone platform with the heavenly ice sword stuck in it. He stood as straight as a spear, not moving at all. His stern face did not show any expression. Aside from coldness, there was only coldness. "Since you are a bladesman, why the need to use the deity race's unorthodox Tao?" Yan Shisan narrowed his eyes, and rage flashed in them. His gaze was like a sharp knife stabbing at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly to himself. This person probably misunderstood, thinking that Xiao Chen underestimated him. Not only did Xiao Chen not draw his saber, but he even used unorthodox Tao to deal with him. However, Xiao Chen's current situation was that the myriad heaven divine fist merged 3 kinds of energy. In reality, it already surpassed the original myriad heaven divine fist. It was not much weaker than Xiao Chen's saber techniques. In terms of explosive power and destructive power, the myriad heaven divine fist was even stronger. However, since Yan Shisan said that, Xiao Chen had no intention of letting Yan Shisan continue misunderstanding. If he drew his saber, so be it. In the past few days, Xiao Chen had been practicing the Qing Emperor's drawing the saber. Now, he could instantly send out 81 different trajectories. The other party had a peak great perfection sword intent, and Xiao Chen's saber intent had reached 70% comprehension. Saber intent was innately stronger than sword intent. Although Xiao Chen's cultivation realm was weaker, it would not immediately crumble. Holding the lunar shadow saber, Xiao Chen rode on the blue dragon and slowly grasped the saber hilt with his right hand. The saber technique immediately merged with Xiao Chen's state in the surroundings, encasing Yan Shisan. At first, Yan Shisan did not care. Then, his eyes lit up, and his expression slowly turned grave. Unexpectedly, he could not make out the trajectory and position of Xiao Chen's attack. Figures of Xiao Chen holding the saber filled the air. Front, left, right, up, down, it seemed like there was no place where he could draw his saber. Interesting. However, before strong strength, no matter how good a technique is, it is useless. Yan Shisan nodded to himself. He admitted that his drawing the saber was not as good as Xiao Chen's. However, he did not care too much. The absolute difference in strength was too great. Xiao Chen could not use this advantage to finish him off in one move. As long as Xiao Chen could not finish him off in one move, Yan Shisan would be able to do so in an instant. In his opinion, Xiao Chen had only one chance. When Nangong Qiong, who was at the entrance of the distant palace, saw that the two were about to fight, she could not help but feel confused. This Xiao Chen is really worrisome. He looks very gentle and quiet, but when he sees a beautiful woman, he goes completely crazy, daring to offend anyone. That's not right. This young lady believes herself to be an outstanding beauty, no weaker than that little fox. Why is he not reacting to me? Ft. 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 What am I thinking? I have to stop them. Otherwise, when we reach the core of the palace, Xiao Chen will not have the strength to help me open the stone steel. Just as Yan Shisan's hand was about to touch his sword hilt, a simple and unadorned wooden umbrella arrived. Nangong Qiong held the umbrella handle and smiled faintly as she appeared beside Xiao Chen. Young Master Shisan, it has been a long time. When Yan Shisan saw Nangong Qiong appear, he was clearly startled. Furthermore, she walked over to Xiao Chen. He sent a voice projection, "Ing Qiong, you want to help him? Don't worry about it. In any case, you cannot fight with this person now. Just take your heavenly ice sword and leave." The two quickly exchanged a few words. Then, Yan Shisan glanced at Bai, who was behind Xiao Chen. Then, he entered deep thought. Then, he gently tossed his black sword forward. Yan Shisan said calmly, "My Yan clan does not lack subdivine weapons. However, this heavenly ice sword is the most compatible with my killing sword Dao, so I have to obtain it. The sword in my hand is called Snow Feather. In terms of material, craftsmanship and charm, it is no weaker than the heavenly ice sword. In another 5 years, it will definitely become a subdivine weapon. I'll give it to the young lady behind you." Yan Shisan gently tossed the snow feather sword, and strands of black light peeled off like paint. This was the killing qi that Yan Shisan had tempered on it for many years. When the black light scattered, the snow feather sword returned to its original appearance. It was as white as snow, untainted by dust, and its cold light was withdrawn. Xiao Chen received the snow feather sword and looked at Yan Shisan. Then, he looked at Nangong Qiong, who was feigning ignorance, and he seemed to understand something. Chapter 763. However, Xiao Chen was even more shocked at Nangong Qiong's identity. To think that she could make the proud and unfathomable Yan Shisan make such a concession. "Since you already condensed the sword heart, I believe you will not bury the snow feather sword. Its glory will be on you from now on." Yan Shisan did not say anything more. He grasped the heavenly ice sword's hilt and looked coldly at the surrounding crowd, like he was asking if anyone was still unconvinced. After seeing Yan Shisan's strength, who would dare to seek trouble? They all avoided his gaze, not daring to meet his eyes. Boom! Yan Shisan drew the heavenly ice sword and soared into the sky. He sent out a massacring sword light and broke through the roof of the palace. Yan Shisan's figure flickered, and he turned into a beam of black light, vanishing from this place. Just when everyone thought that there would be peace for a while, the stone platform with the heavenly ice sword in it exploded into dust. Clumps of dazzling light shot out as the stone platform crumbled. They were like majestic heavenly rocks spreading their wings and soaring into the sky. The light was dazzling, more than 100 of them. A vast emperor's might layered over each other and spread throughout the vast palace, making breathing difficult. An emperor painting piece. It really is a painting piece of the great rock spreading wings. There are so many painting pieces. We struck it rich. After a moment of silence, all the cultivators in the hall roared crazily, causing a commotion in the crowd. The impatient cultivators leaped into the air and reached out to grab the painting pieces. Bang! 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 Miserable cries rang out. Not only did people get injured by the energy contained in the painting pieces, but they were also injured by sneak attacks. The entire place turned chaotic. Nangong Qiong said softly, "Along the way, we only found one painting piece. So, they were all hidden here." Xiao Chen frowned slightly as he looked at the chaotic scene. He did not know if Yan Shisan expected such a thing to happen after he left. However, even if he did, given Yan Shisan's character, he would not change his mind for these painting pieces. After retreating to the back with Bai's group, Xiao Chen handed the snow feather sword to Bai and said, "Brother Jiang, Miss Mu, Bai will be in your care." Jiang Zimo nodded and said, Brother Xiao, don't worry. You should be careful as well. Bai knew what Xiao Chen meant. He wanted to protect her. She hated herself for not living up to his expectations. Brother Xiao Chen was worried about her. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and did not say anything more. He turned around and left on his dragon, joining the group fighting for the map fragments. Xiao Chen's cultivation was still lingering around late-stage superior-grade martial monarch. This painting piece was very important to him. This might be his opportunity to become a half-saint, so he had to fight for it. Looking around, the two most eye-catching people in the sky were undoubtedly the little heavenly monkey Feng and the silver moon spirit fox race's Xianyu. Those who fought with them for the map pieces all ended up in a miserable state. In a short period of time, the two of them had already snatched 5 or 6 map fragments, sending quite a few ignorant people flying. Xiao Chen stood like a soaring dragon, looking at the dazzling map fragments dancing in the sky. Suddenly, he stretched out his hand and firmly grabbed a map fragment that flew past him. A strong shockwave surged out, knocking away the nearby cultivators. Even the little heavenly monkey Feng needed at least 3 attempts before he could completely subdue a map fragment. Xiao Chen used his full power, using both his mental energy and quintessence at the same time to succeed on his first try. Boom! 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 Shock waves surged endlessly. Xiao Chen quickly made his move, succeeding 10 times out of 10. In a few breaths, he caught up to Xianyu and the little heavenly monkey. After a while, Xiao Chen obtained 20 map fragments. The little heavenly monkey and Xianyu combined did not even reach half of Xiao Chen's. Such a ferocious display finally attracted everyone's attention. They were dumbfounded as they watched Xiao Chen harvest the map fragments in an extremely tyrannical manner. This is too monstrous. Is he even going to let us live? Damn it! From the looks of it, he is going to snatch away at least half of the map fragments. The originally chaotic scene of a chaotic fight between experts now turned into Xiao Chen's solo performance. No one could stop him from harvesting the map fragments. The little heavenly monkey's pearl-like eyes revealed a strange chill. This fellow is too exaggerated. Hu Qi. Xianyu, who had long found Xiao Chen an eyesore, snorted coldly. While Xiao Chen was not paying attention, he quickly flew towards him and stretched out his hand, trying to snatch a map fragment behind him. Xiao Chen smiled coldly. Without even turning around, he grabbed the painting piece with the backhand of his hand. At the same time, he made a grabbing motion with his right hand, and a surging shock wave burst out as he caught a painting piece that was flying over. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chen grabbed 2 map fragments at the same time. Emperor's might spread out. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and his white robes fluttered. His entire being radiated an unstoppable sharpness. Xianyu, who originally thought that he would definitely succeed, ended up grabbing nothing. The expression on his face was extremely fascinating. Xiao Chen quickly put away the 2 map fragments into his universe ring. Then, his figure flashed and appeared in another direction, leaving behind Xianyu, who was still in the same posture as before. Riding the dragon dance, Xiao Chen harvested non-stop. Anyone who blocked his way was sent flying. Xianyu clenched his teeth and made up his mind to trick Xiao Chen this time. So, he chased after Xiao Chen, not letting go. However, Xiao Chen did not even bother to look at him. Every time Xiao Chen casually grabbed, Xiao Chen's actions would miss, preventing him from grabbing anything. 10 minutes later, not a single map fragment remained in the Great Hall. Xiao Chen had already swept through all of them. Naturally, the biggest winner was Xiao Chen. Of the 100 Great Rock Spreading Wings painting pieces, Xiao Chen had swept through 60 of them, more than everyone else combined. The Great Hall fell silent. Without exception, everyone's gazes focused on Xiao Chen. There was envy, jealousy, hatred, and even gazes filled with malicious intent. Murderous intent could be seen faintly discernible. However, after seeing Xiao Chen's earlier fight with Yan Shisan, no one dared to take the lead. Although the map fragments were precious, the value of one's life was even higher. Aside from Xiao Chen, Little Heavenly Monkey was the cultivator who had obtained the most map fragments. He gave Xiao Chen a deep look with his gem-like eyes before leaving without looking back. At this moment, Little Heavenly Monkey had to admit that even if he used his full strength, he might not be able to hold back Xiao Chen. He might even get killed by Xiao Chen and snatch away his map fragment. The cruel reality made him feel somewhat helpless. Originally, he did not care about this person at all. Who could have imagined that he would be his greatest nemesis on this trip? After Little Heavenly Monkey left, sighs came from the crowd as they left unwillingly. Aside from Nangong Cheong, no one else knew about the core map fragment. Seeing that the map fragments were all distributed, the crowd could only leave this place regretfully. Congratulations, young Master Xiao. You obtained 60 map fragments. No one can stop you from showing off your might. Nangong Cheong said softly as she appeared out of nowhere. She revealed a faint smile on her pretty face. Xiao Chen had expected this girl to say this long ago. He smiled faintly and ignored her. He walked over to Bai and the other two and took out 30 map fragments, distributing them to the three. Xiao Chen had already suppressed the map fragments, so there was no need to continue suppressing them. The three put away the map fragments and thanked Xiao Chen with cup fist salutes. The map fragments formed from the comprehensions of a sovereign martial emperor were incredibly precious. The three were not unreasonable people. Furthermore, they were familiar with Xiao Chen's character, so they would not reject it. Xian Yu's face darkened as he walked over with his second uncle. His lips twitched a few times before he squeezed out a smile. I have always heard Bai mention you. Now that I see you today, you are indeed extraordinary. Xian Yu originally thought that Yan Shisan would kill Xiao Chen. Who could have imagined that not only did Yan Shisan not injure Xiao Chen, but he even gave face to Xiao Chen and gave the snow feather sword to Bai. After that, Xiao Chen displayed his skills and obtained 60 map fragments, completely overshadowing Xian Yu. Now, when Xian Yu saw the ambiguous expression in Bai's eyes, he could not hide it. Xian Yu wished that he could immediately kill Xiao Chen. However, he was not strong enough. Furthermore, he did not dare to fall out with Bai. The conflicted expression on Xian Yu's handsome face was obvious. Xiao Chen greeted indifferently. Then, he started chatting with Bai, lecturing her not to be rash in the future. Hee. Bai understands. The next time we meet, Bai will definitely not stand behind elder brother Xiao Chen. When Xiao Bai saw that familiar face and heard that familiar voice, she felt that her elder brother Xiao Chen was the same as before. Nothing had changed. She felt that it was enough. When Xian Yu, who was at the side, saw Bai's meek appearance, the flames in his eyes seemed to be about to spew out. If looks could kill, Xiao Chen would have died 10,000 times already. Unfortunately, looks could not kill. At the very least, Xian Yu's could not. After saying a few words to Jiang Zimo and Mu Xinya, Xiao Chen bid them farewell. Nangong Cheong appeared at an appropriate time. She smiled and said, TSK, you are really generous. You casually gave me half of the map fragment. Young Master Xiao, I discovered that I can no longer see through you. Xiao Chen said casually, how can I see through you? Cut the chatter. Bring me to the central hall of the Grave Palace. After I help you break the door, we will be even. When Nangong Cheong heard the words central hall, she was no longer in the mood to joke around. She activated the many hidden mechanisms and led Xiao Chen in circles. Finally, they arrived before a heavy stone door. The stone door was pure black. Aside from being heavy, it looked very ordinary. Nangong Cheong's expression turned grave. She said sullenly, this is the heavenly cloud stone. It can absorb a cultivator's quintessence. The central control hall of the Grave Palace is inside. Unless one is a descendant of the heavenly rock race, no one can open the door even if they find the mechanism. They can only break it by force. The heavenly cloud stone was one of the mysterious stones of the starry heavens. Xiao Chen had heard of it before. Human cultivators' quintessence, fiend race cultivators' fiend essence, and deity race cultivators' mental energy would not be able to cause any damage. Instead, they would become nourishment for it, making it even harder. Only the purest form of brute force, what was commonly known as force, could shatter it. According to the quality of the heavenly cloud stone, the amount of force it could withstand varied. Since the heavenly rock king had found this heavenly cloud stone, its quality would definitely not be low. This is a sage-grade heavenly cloud stone. It can withstand 1,000 tons of force without shattering. However, to young Master Xiao, this should be a piece of cake. Nangong Qiong glanced at Xiao Chen. She smiled faintly, looking fresh and refined. Her smooth, jade-like face did not appear to be fawning. Instead, she looked very charming. Under such flattery, a regular man would rush forward and smash the heavenly cloud stone with a punch. You're tuning into the Tashin Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.